What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Spurs have battered Aston Villa by 4-1 in a performance which was absolutely brilliant in that second half. To be honest, at half-time, I couldn't really see that coming because it was a very slow, lethargic, tired performance in that first half where both teams were kind of giving as good as they got. Probably, you would say, on the balance of play, I wouldn't say that Spurs deserved to be down, but I felt like Villa probably created the better chances.
Yeah, they probably did have the better the first half. They're the ones hurting us more than we were hurting them. But how many times has the Spurs team gone down at home and we've been able to come back? So you never feel like you're out of it, for sure, especially at home, even when you go behind. But the first half, it was difficult. Villa came with a game plan. Emre set up in a certain way. And we were struggling to break him down. I think we were pretty much restricted to pot shots from 25 yards, 30 yards.
They were all coming from Bentancur.
Yeah, pretty much. And but a few tactical tweaks in the second half, and it all changed. And you can never write off this Spurs side, especially at the Lane.
Especially at the Lane. As I said in the vlog, this place is becoming a fortress right now, battering every team that come here at the moment. But anyway, we're going to start off talking about player ratings. Going to get into big Vicario first, 7s all round. And I felt like, for the most part, he was really untested. We protected our goal really well. There was one corner that came in just before the one that they scored from, which I thought he dealt with really well. And then the one that we did let in, I mean, he did get the save on it, but I still thought, he put it into a dangerous area, which, wasn't the greatest from Vicario. But look, everything else he did really well.
I mean, when I was watching it in the stadium, I was like, why is Vic not coming through it? Why does he keep getting bullied? But I've watched it back. I don't really know what he could have done because he gets flicked on at the near post, I think from Porro.
It was very unlucky, yeah.
And it then hits Bentancur. And if anything, he makes a brilliant save to stop it going in the net, and none of the defenders react. So I don't know what he could really do from that corner situation. I don't think it was okay. I mean, yes, he was kind of being pushed around a bit by Rodgers, but I don't think that would have made a difference because at the end of the day, 2 Spurs players touch it before Vicario does. So I don't know what he could do. Obviously, he makes the one from Onana. Obviously, it did hit the post, but he has to make a reaction save to stop it going on the inside of the post and push out for a corner. So I think he did well there. And then other than that, he didn't have too many big saves to make, to be honest. So it wasn't like Villa had too many shots on target or anything like that. A lot of the game was played in the Villa half. So I think he did a fine job overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like his kind of passion from corners now, where he's kind of pushing players away and getting in amongst the physical nature of those situations. So I think he's getting better from corners, so definitely a step in the right direction. Next up, Pedro Porro, 6s all round for Pedro. I thought him in the build-up and from an attacking perspective, I expected more. I thought his passing, particularly in the first half, was fairly sloppy, and I felt like he was getting caught out in the transition quite a bit on that right-hand side. And I expected more from Pedro in this game, seeing as he was one of the players that had the rest during midweek. And I don't think he was terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but he wasn't at his scintillating best.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there was that one moment in the second half where Watkins breezed past him gets past Romero, then gets past Porro as well, and Porro has to take him out and receives the yellow, which, look, to be fair, probably prefer that than allowing Watkins to carry on. But I thought, if anything, Villa were getting joy down that side through Ramsey. I did think, by and large, he was kept quiet. It wasn't exactly like they were creating loads of chances, but for the few chances they did, mainly coming down that side. Ramsey had that one chance in the first half where he cut inside Porro and took a shot. And as well, if we're comparing him to Udogie in the game, I don't see Porro making as much of an impact going forward as Destiny did, and that's where we associate Porro. So again, I agree with you. I don't think it was a bad game, but it just wasn't one of his best. And I thought Ramsey was probably giving him more trouble than anyone else.
Radu Dragusin, 8s all round for Radu, playing on the left-hand side of a back two, or the centre-back pairing, and then obviously he moved over to the right when Ben Davies came on. But I thought he was brilliant. Defensively, a man mountain. I thought he stepped up to every challenge that came his way, and I thought he looked a lot more comfortable on the ball than he did on Wednesday night as well. So I was really happy with Radu's display.
Yeah, obviously he doesn't have Romero's quality. I thought we just kept it simple, and this one didn't played too many passes in between the lines, but I thought he had a really strong showing. I thought what was really important is whenever they played a long ball into Watkins, he was just there dominating those situations, and if it came close to him, he was winning those headers. That was what I was saying in the game where he came in, I think it was RZ. He was just a lot more proactive on the ball in his defensive capabilities, and he was looking for opportunities to win the ball back instead of waiting for the opposition player to pick up the ball and then making a tackle, which is really, really important in our system, because the more you can be proactive and win the ball back quickly, obviously the more you sustain the pressure on the opposition. I think he really, really helped with that. And look, I think the more game time he's getting recently, the better he's getting, and he's getting more used to the system. Again, we're playing a high line where, you know, we're playing with a lot of risk, and that's going to leave him exposed. And I think he's starting to deal with it a lot better than he was in the early parts of the season. So I'm getting happier with him. And look, Watkins, I know he had that one chance, but he ran off Romero, wasn't Dragusin on that occasion. And I thought, by and large, Dragusin didn't really put a foot wrong. So, yeah, on the ball, I mean, he didn't do anything bad, and he didn't really give the ball away, so that's a positive. I'm still not seeing enough real quality from him, but maybe that will come with time. But I think defensively, really, really strong, and I'm getting happier with him the more he plays.
I felt like on Wednesday night, particularly in the first half when he was on that left-hand side in the build-up, whenever he was on the ball, he looked so hesitant and like kind of made us all in the stadium that night shit ourselves whenever he got on the ball. But I didn't feel that against Aston Villa, and I felt like when he was on the ball, it was a lot more calm, a lot more composed. And I noticed definitely a step in the right direction as well.
He was definitely playing a lot more left-footed passes, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
Noticed that he was using his left foot a bit more, so I don't know if that was something they worked over the last few days.
I remember turning to you in the stadium being like, this guy, he never uses his left foot. And then as soon as I said that, he started using his left foot every time.
Yeah, and it was a nice spot. It wasn't like amazing, but it was like good technique on them and like good accuracy. But so maybe that's something he's been working on.
Cuti Romero up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought he started the game fairly sloppy, to be fair. I thought Ollie Watkins did get the better of him on a couple of occasions. Obviously, it didn't mount to a goal. But yeah, I thought as the game progressed, obviously he got taken off early in the second half, but I thought as the game progressed, he did get stronger. He did get a lot more assured on the ball. He was playing some really nice passes, and he drove up the pitch once or twice as well. And then he was winning his duels as well. So look, there's a few worrying signs in there as Watkins was able to peel off him quite easily. But apart from that, I thought he grew into the game.
Yeah, again, a mixed game for Romero, I thought. I thought on the ball, again, brilliant, as always. Some of his passes in between the lines, little dinks into midfield. It's just something that we don't have anyone else in our squad who's capable of doing that. And I thought some of his passing was phenomenal on Sunday, and really gave Villa a bit of trouble. That was the only time when we're asking different questions, I felt a lot of the time was through Romero's passing. But there's 3 moments that stick out in my mind, which when I'm assessing his performance, first of all, the chance Watkins had, he peels off Romero, is able to make a touch past him, and obviously Watkins fired it wide. There was another moment in the second half where Watkins breezed past him and then forced Romero to bring him down, and that was a yellow. That was a poor moment for him. And then obviously the moment where he got taken off, Watkins were a bad foul on Rodgers, and he was rash in that moment. Obviously, he got booked for that moment. Obviously, he injured himself in that moment as well. And it wasn't a great tackle, to be honest. And he kind of just charging in. I guess you can argue he's stopping a counter-attack, and that was a vital challenge to make. But he was kind of late to it, and he was pretty rash. So, yeah, I think that led to defensively not the best performance, albeit again similar to Dragusin. Whenever they played those long balls into Watkins, I felt like he was dealing with them with Dragusin as well, which has led to Watkins being barely involved. But there were those 3 moments I had to mark him down for a bit for all the good stuff. So again, wasn't horrible, but there was just some stuff where he was a bit late to a few things.
Destiny Udogie up next. 8's all round for Destiny. And I thought he was brilliant throughout first half and second half. He really contributed to the attacks, really great link-up play and build-up play in and around the Villa half. And I thought defensively, nothing really got past him throughout the day. I thought it was a bit of a man-mountain Destiny on the day. And, a lot of people have criticised his one-on-one defending, including myself, over the past few weeks, ever since he's got back from injury. But I don't think we saw any of those flaws coming into it yesterday.
Yeah, I think he kept John McGinn really quiet. John McGinn didn't really threaten him in a similar way that Ramsey was threatening down the left-hand side. I thought Udogie dealt with him. What I think was really good, though, was in the first half, I felt Udogie was definitely inverting a lot more and definitely playing these, making these inside runs, underlapping Son, and I think that definitely changed in the second half, and you can see that in the opening 10 minutes while Son was on the pitch. He did these overlapping runs, which opened up the space for Sonny to obviously get that cross in for the goal, and obviously he then set up a chance for Dominic Solanke as well just after that, which could have made it 2-1 at the time. So I think he definitely changed up his runs. I don't know if it must have been direct instruction from Ange to say, look, you got to help out Sonny on that side. You got to make sure you're drawing John McGinn away so that he can take on Cash one-on-one. So I just felt like they were doubling up on Sonny in that first half, and Udogie wasn't doing enough to help out Son in those scenarios. And in the second half, that did change, and all of a sudden he was a lot more threatening as well, Destiny. And defensively, he put in a massive effort, because you got to remember he played 90 minutes against. He played pretty much 80 to 90 minutes against City. He played 90 minutes against Palace. He played a big 90 minutes, I think, pretty much against RZ as well. So he put a big effort in this game to pull through, and I think you wouldn't have noticed it, I think, the way he played. So really well done from Destiny.
Yeah, it's actually a good point you make about the tactical tweak in that second half, because it was actually his run that kind of caught Matty Cash off guard, that allowed Son all that space to go one-on-one at Cash for the goal that we scored to level it up. So Destiny, yeah, like I said, was absolutely brilliant. Bentancur up next, sevens all round for Rodrigo, and I felt like he was one of, if not the best player for us in the first half. He was really combative in the middle of the park. He was the one that was asking the questions of the Villa backline in terms of taking those. I think he took about 3 or 4 shots in that first half where we just weren't able to break Villa down, and if a goal was going to come, it was probably going to come from him for about 25-30 yards, but in reality it didn't really hurt Villa and any of the shots that he was taking. Second half, I felt, I don't know, he just kind of tired a little bit really early on in that second half. He didn't come out as confident, as combative, and he went off quite early on. I think 10 minutes he lasted in the second half.
Yeah, he seemed to take a knock, didn't he? 'Cause he was down for a few seconds. Looked like he was, I don't know if he was tired or he'd had a big knock on him, and Ange decided to take him off. I thought first half he was actually having a strong game, and I thought he was actually making a few clever tactical fouls. I know one of them he got booked for, which was a foul on Onana, but I thought he was covering a lot of ground. He was being really aggressive, and I thought he was actually playing quite well in that first half. And as you say, getting on the ball, had a few shots, but one of them was good. The other 2 weren't so good. Trying to get close to the goal, but it was obviously very hard to break down this Villa side, and he was the only one who seemed to have a bit of time on the ball. But I thought off the ball, I thought he was actually keeping Rodgers fairly quiet. I thought he was doing all right for a lot of the game, Bentancur. But as you say, second half, he did take a knock, because I remember seeing him on his knees a bit in the centre circle. I think it was a similar time to when Romero was down. It was like a similar time to that, where he just seemed to be not Romero so we took off Son, but I remember pointing out to you, it looks like Bentancur struggling with something, so I wonder if he took a knock and that's why he took him off. But I thought overall, while he was on the pitch, he had a pretty good game.
Next up is the star boy, Pape Matar Star. What a performance this guy put in. 9s all round for Pape, and this guy was incredible. That second half display from Pape, oh my days. He dominated that midfield. He really did. Covered it's such a cliche now for Pape Matar Star, but he did cover literally every blade of grass on that pitch at White Hart at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He had his hand massively in 2 of the goals that we scored as well. He kept constantly just winning the ball back high up the pitch to sustain that pressure on Aston Villa. And we keep saying it every week now. Every single week we keep saying it. And now it's kind of even there for everyone to see. He keeps getting better. As the weeks go by, he's getting better and better and better. And that performance that he put in yesterday was reminiscent, if not better, than some of his best displays last season.
Yeah, he was fantastic. So happy for him, because we know at the beginning of the season he didn't quite look himself. He wasn't quite the sharpest Pape that we've seen in a Spurs shirt before. But as we've definitely pointed out last few weeks, he's definitely been up in his game and his form has been massively improving. And obviously he got the goal in midweek against City, and then he followed up with a phenomenal performance today. And obviously Maddison didn't play at all in midweek, and you thought, it might have been tempting to put him back in, but Ange looked at the situation and thought he's going to need Sarr's legs, and I think it was a great decision, because Sarr put in a fantastic performance. I thought first half I was looking at the situation. I thought he wasn't offering too much on the ball, and I was like, maybe we need to bring Maddison on just to get a bit more of a foothold in the final third. We weren't creating much, but I think that definitely changed up a lot in the second half. I think he made 9 recoveries in the game in the middle of the park, which is more than any other player on the pitch, and you saw what a difference that made. I thought all of a sudden Onana we struggled to deal with Onana, then all of a sudden Onana struggled to deal with Pape in that second half, and he was just snapping at their heels. He was getting on the ball. He was providing quality on the ball as well. Some of his switches of play were absolutely on point, and they were causing Villa problems. And as you say, with the goals he was involved with made a big difference. Won the ball for the third goal and played through Richarlison. Good way to pass and timing a pass to get Richarlison in. And then as well for the second goal, played a nice ball into Brennan, and before the quick interchange before Solanke went through. So played a crucial role, and it's just relentless, isn't he? He just never stops running. And when you're up against that, and you've got tired legs and you're struggling to keep up, all of a sudden he makes a big difference. And I just thought Villa at the end of the day couldn't live with him in that second half, and phenomenal showing.
And he won the ball back 9 times in their third of the park yesterday, which is more than any other player in the Premier League this season. So that just shows you what an impact this guy made yesterday. So the way he's performing right now, I think he's becoming a bit undroppable, a bit like Kulusevski that we're talking about him. With these performances and with the balance that him, Kulusevski, and either Rodrigo, Bentancur and Bissouma have in that middle three, it's going to be very hard for James Maddison to get back in this side.
100%, and that's all Maddison has to deal with. And maybe that's why you saw at the end of the game, we'll get into Maddison later, but the way Pape's playing, 100%, like you can't leave him out right now. You can't leave him out.
Decky up next. Him gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Maybe not as dominating as has previous performances from Decky, but I still thought it was a very good showing from him. I thought he was fairly quiet in the first half, but I thought he really came to life in the second half with a lovely ball for Dom Solanke for the goal, for one of his goals. And I thought he was just a physical specimen, physical beast throughout that second half, allowing us to retain and control the game in the second half. And look, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as good as maybe on the ball that he's shown over the past few weeks. But the workload that he put in for the team, I really appreciated it. So I gave him an 8.
Yeah, I gave him a 7. I thought it was one of his more quiet games, but that just goes to show what kind of level he's playing at the moment, because even in that kind of game, that kind of scenario, he still comes out with a beautiful moment of quality for the through ball to Solanke. How we saw that and was able to execute it with a beautiful direction and weight of pass that he did right into Solanke's path. He didn't have to break stride Solanke. He didn't have to take the touches, hit it first time. That's a testament to how good Kulusevski's pass was. And I thought, in general, when he's getting on the ball in those little half spaces, he's so strong. It's hard for teams to get the ball off him. I don't think he was as involved maybe in this one, in those attacking moments as he has been in previous games, but I still think it was a really strong showing from Decky, and he's playing at such a high level where even when he's not having the most involved game, he still comes up with those moments of quality, and he's still providing for the team.
Yeah, still 3 key passes on the day for him, which is monstrous numbers.
Still good.
Sonny, 7 from Sim, 8 from me. I did feel like he was fairly well stifled in the first half, where he kept trying to come on the inside, and they were doubling up on him, and it was really difficult for him. But I felt like the reason I gave him such a high mark is because I think it was solely down to him how the game flipped and changed, where he gets Matty Cash one-on-one, and he puts in a beautiful cross. And it wasn't just that, like, you could really see he was growing in confidence and growing into the game. And unfortunate for him, he was taken off, and his reaction to get taken off was a bit strange for me, because he was like, what, me? And then he was visibly upset on the sidelines, and Ange said afterwards it was a pre-planned sub. I mean, I just the reaction from Son and Ange's words after the game just don't really add up to me, and it's a bit peculiar, so I can't really put my finger on what actually is the situation there. But in terms of why I've given him such a high mark, I felt like he's the one that really clawed us back into that game. Yeah,
I think first half, as you say, they doubled up on him. As I was saying with the Doggy wasn't really helping him out with his runs. He was always inside, and they just allowed Matty Cash and McGinn to double up on Son, and he was struggling to find any sort of space. He actually kept cutting inside all the time, wasn't getting to the byline, which we know Ange wants his wingers to get to that byline and get that ball across the face of goal, and wasn't afforded that space. But what I love about how he started the second half is the way he took that assist. He didn't even have to beat Matty Cash. All he did was just make a yard for himself. And on his left foot, we know he doesn't have a weak foot, but on his left foot, what a cross. You know, I was watching that the Arsenal game on Saturday, and, you know, Anthony Gordon put in an unbelievable cross for Isaac. I was thinking that's probably one of the best crosses you'll see this season. And then I think Sonny might have just topped it on Sunday with what was an incredible cross, because it's such a narrow corridor he has to aim at, and there really isn't a lot of space. He has to find the accuracy, the whip on the cross. He's got to have the pace on it as well, and he's got to have the bend, because he's actually he's got Matty Cash in front of him. He's got to bend it around Matty Cash in between Martinez, and you see Konsa thinks the keeper's getting it. He leaves it for the keeper, and in the end, the bend is so good, it's right into Johnson's path. And in fact, we had two players, Solanke and Johnson, right at the back post, who probably could have found either of them to tap it home. And obviously, we know Johnson, his timing with the runs is so good, so fair play to him, really good timing. But what a ball from Son. You'll be hard pressed to find a better cross all season than that from Heung-min Son. It was absolutely delightful on a sixpence. And when you've got that kind of quality in the team, you can do all these tactical things and stuff. When you've got someone putting it across like that, sometimes there's not much you can do. It's just that good. And it's not even like I thought they defended that situation badly, Villa, because like if you're Matt Cash, you don't even let him beat you. All he did was make a yard, and he just whips in an unbelievable ball. That's the kind of quality we know that Son has. And yeah, obviously, he started the second half so well. I think just after that, he had his tail up. He obviously set up a doggy to get in behind to feed Solanke, who had a chance. And I thought then there was another moment where he dribbled past... I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Onana. Like, he dribbled past him in the middle and opened up another more space. I'm thinking, all right, Sonny's in the mood. And then just at that moment, he gets taken off. And I think the reason why Son had that reaction, I don't know whether he knew it was pre-planned or not. Maybe Anne just, I don't know, maybe he didn't let him know he was taking him off on 55. But
I assume, though, as a club captain, like, he would have known that he was going to get taken off on the 55th minute.
Or maybe he just, the reality is he was playing so well at that point, he just started to really get to grips with the game. And we know how Son just feels that responsibility for the team. We've seen it so many times that, you know, we've seen him play with a broken arm before, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've seen him play and always wants to put his body on the line for the team. And you know, with the score at 1-1, with him really starting to strut his stuff in the game, I can understand his disappointment, because he probably feels like he might be the best way to you know, get the win in this game. Obviously, we went on to win the game 4-1, and, you know, Ange was proven right to take him off. But I can understand Sonny's frustration, because he feels, as a leader of the team and one of the team's most important players, and especially with the game at 1-1 at the time, we're not winning, he obviously feels like, I need to be on that pitch. Like, he feels that responsibility, and he's obviously going to be very, very disappointed when he gets taken off. I think it's
slightly odd, though, because, like, if it's a pre-planned sub, and if he knew about it, which I'm going to assume both of those are true, his initial reaction was like, who, me? He looked confused, like why he was taking him off.
He just got an assist, and he was. But
it was a pre-planned sub for that minute of the game.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe he felt like the way the game was going, he had to stay on. Maybe that's how he felt at the time. Like, I'm playing so well, you can't take me off. Like, I need to be staying on. Look, and he wasn't injured. That's the thing. He wasn't injured or anything. And said after the game, he just wanted to be careful with him, because the last time he came back from injury, it was the West Ham game, and he played him for 70 minutes, and in that period just after the hour mark, he started to feel a bit sore, and obviously then that's why he got left out of the Palace game, and he didn't want that to happen again. So he was being super careful with him. He said thankfully he came for unscathed, and maybe Son was just a bit annoyed because he wasn't injured. He felt like he could maybe carry on, and he was playing so well, and then to be taken off that moment has got to be frustrating. But obviously, if they've discussed it beforehand, he probably shouldn't have been surprised. I don't know if they did or not, but if they had done, then his surprise is a bit odd. But I can understand his frustration coming off of that moment, because he was you know, the player opening up Villa, playing so well, and he got pretty much taken off at the highest moment for him in the game, and he wasn't injured. So I can understand that frustration, but I'm sure, you know, he'll take the win.
Yeah, look, I think it's obviously going to be water under the bridge now. We've won 4-1, and he's the club captain. He's very dedicated to Tottenham. We're hearing today that the one-year extension is going to be triggered, and I'm sure there's no issues there, and there's no issue to talk about here. It just was a bit odd for me why he looked so surprised. Like, the frustration I can understand, but to look surprised for a pre-plan just looked really odd for me. But anyway, let's move on to Big Dom Solanke. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him a big, fat 10, and Solanke was absolutely brilliant. He was so physical. His pressing was on point. On the ball as well, I thought he was brilliant. Got 2 goals. Had a few other chances where he could have put the ball in the back of the net as well. And what I really loved about Dom Solanke in this performance was he was getting in those goal-scoring positions, which I've criticised him before. Well, not criticised, but noted before, where he's doing everything so well in every facet of the game, which he's kept up to his standards in this game. But what I've been saying is in the last 6 games, he hadn't had a shot on target. I remember I can't remember if it was the first half or the second half, he had that shot on target, and I turned around to you, yes, shot on target for Big Dom. Little did I know he was going to put the ball in the back of the net twice in the game. First one was a finish out of the highest degree, and the way he dinks it over Emi Martinez was absolutely brilliant. Second one, a poacher's finish at the back post, brilliant. So Big Dom Solanke, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 goal contributions in his 8 games so far this season. It's a brilliant return so far. And I was talking off camera to you, saying I'm not sure who which last Spurs striker that we signed that's actually hit the ground running as much as Big Dom.
Yeah, and he's been phenomenal ever since he's come out. I don't care how many goals he's got. I don't care what his strike rate is, all these kind of how many shots on target he's having. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And I think Ange has noted that. He can't have asked for any more from Dom. What was interesting I thought about yesterday was he was definitely a lot further forward. He wasn't dropping deep as much as he has been in a few other games. I wonder if that was instruction, or in this game, was it to kind of create a bit more space in front of the back line, him pinning the defenders back. But I definitely noticed that. And first half, obviously he struggled to get in the game. He did have one shot right at the end of the half which was blocked, but he wasn't really involved, a bit anonymous. But second half, I thought really, really brilliant stuff. Such a proper striker's performance, and we've seen him, almost against like Palace, who's almost like a number 10 in that game, creating chances. And in other games, he's been dropping deep and does brilliant hold-up play. But this game, he was up like a proper number 9 inside the box, always a threat. The movement for the chance that he got for his first shot, which a doggy squares it to him, does brilliant. Just to take a shot, touch, and a snapshot, which Martinez has to be at his best to save, just with one hand. And then I thought the first goal was unbelievable, world-class striker movement, by the way, because he noticed it's a quick interchange between Brennan and Decky, but he's not standing still. He's on his bike, he's moving in behind, does brilliantly to stay onside. I thought just timed the run to perfection. And then the little dink over Martinez was that was like a striker in the best of form who had been scoring all season. And I know people say he has had shots on target, whatever, but the way he's been playing, we know his play probably deserves goals. And as long as the team is scoring, I don't care if he's the one scoring it per se. But we were obviously struggling to get the goals yesterday before that goal, and very important for him to step up when he got his big chance. He didn't fluff it, and he just he noticed Martinez come off his line. I think other strikers in that kind of form who are desperate to score probably hit it low or just smash it, look to just keep it on target. But that was the finish of a very, very confident striker, beautifully dinked. And if he will get in those goal scoring positions, I'm certain of it. The goals will come. It's clear to me that he will score goals for his club, and it was only a matter of time. And obviously,
it's not that the goals will come; the goals are coming.
The goals are coming, and it was always going to happen. The more he plays, the more he gets used to how our attack is played, and we just need to find his runs, because his movement is top notch. He never stops moving. You just watch him; he's always looking for opportunities to get in behind, and always follows up chances. And obviously, for the second goal, he was being pulled back a bit from Youri Tielemans, which I think actually helped him in a way, because Richarlison gets in on the left-hand side. And I actually think if you watch the clip, Tielemans pulls him back a bit, which means he's just behind all the defenders, which means all Richarlison has to do is pull it back behind all the defenders, and bam, he's got the open goal. But again, good movement, always in that spot to try and get the goal, and puts it away confidently. And it's why he wins the free kick for Maddison's goal, backing into Carlos. Carlos pulls him down. It was definitely a free kick, and obviously Maddison buries it. So up until the end, it was a constant handful. But what I love about him, obviously the goals, I love, of course, but his constant running, constant chasing down. This guy is a guy who was on his feet against City. I was like, how's this guy going to play on Sunday? I was like, maybe we even play with Richarlison, because this guy, the tank was empty. But in the 100th minute, they give the ball to Pau Torres, and he's still chasing him down, and he's winning the ball, and he like tackling Torres in the 100th minute, and we create another chance for him. This guy just did not stop running. He gives absolutely everything, and when you've got someone leading the line like that, it just adds so many more possibilities and adds so much to the team, because when you're a defender, you can never rest. He never gives you a moment's peace, and he must be so hard to play against, because off the ball, he's going to be chasing you down, and he's going to be harrying you and harassing you, and on the ball, he's backing into you, and he's constantly moving and making runs, and he's just a real handful, and I'm loving Dom Solanke, I really am.
And you know what, yeah, like, he had a big weight on his shoulders coming to this football club in the summer. Basically being asked to be the Harry Kane replacement, essentially, after a year after selling him. And a lot of weight on his shoulders because of that. And he's come in, doesn't seem like it's phased him whatsoever. And I'm not going to sit here and say he's better than Harry Kane, or he affects us better than Harry Kane, but he's added something different than what Harry Kane. He's filled that void, because we really needed desperately a really strong number 9 to press the way Ange wants to press, and to get the goals, and basically to add every facet of what he's been adding so far in a Spurs shirt. So I can't big him up enough, and I can't commend the recruitment team for getting him in as well, because there was a lot of question marks bringing him in.
Yeah, this is a striker who's been noted, didn't start at Chelsea, didn't quite work out there, got a big move to Liverpool, didn't work out there. Even when he first joined Bournemouth, I know he won the Championship, but a couple seasons in the Prem for Bournemouth, didn't pull up any trees. And a lot of people are saying this guy's washed, he's finished. This is, albeit when he was a youngster, a lot of people are talking about him. Like, since he's come to the Prem and last few years, before obviously last year he was smashed out. Like, a lot of people are saying this is not a good striker. Like, he's not a
Championship
finisher.
Striker.
Yeah, basically. And last season he smashed it out. He got a big move to Spurs, and he's really taken to the team like a duck to water, and he's showing his early career promise is really paying off now. And I couldn't be happy for him, because he's not been easy for him, and he's been written off so many times. And I know there's only 2 goals today, and he's got a long way to go, but I think the way he started his career, he's barely had a bad game. I think he's been such a phenomenal asset for us, and I couldn't be happy with him. I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. Brennan Johnson up next. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Brennan Johnson tirelessly running throughout the game. I thought he was brilliant off the ball. Obviously, he does what Brennan does, is arrive at a perfect time at the back post to claw us back into the game from that brilliant cross from Sonny. I did want a bit more from Brennan on the ball, but what I've marked him on is for his tireless running and his work rate that he put in throughout the game. So I thought it was probably Brennan's best performance over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, obviously got his goal, which always comes from the timing of the runs. That comes from the training ground, that goal. And we saw last season, and even this season, how many times he's just in that position, constantly making those runs. And again, similar to Solanke, like as a fullback, when the opposition winger has it, you can't rest, because you've got someone as fast as Johnson on his bike every time getting to that back post, and look how often it pays off for him. And also, as much as a brilliant ball from Son, he has to take that kind of on the bounce there. Brennan has to keep it down, has to get it past Martins. And I know it's a easy chance, but he still has to control that finish at the back post. It wasn't as easy as some of his other back post finishes, and done really well just to control it, make sure he gets it on target and puts it away 1-1. But I agree with you. As much as he didn't offer as much as maybe he should have going forward, I thought he was tireless going back the other way. The amount of times in that second half where he just dug deep, made the run for the team, made sure Digne wasn't getting any space, made sure that whoever's on the left-hand side, I think Philogene came on Ramsey, he was just helping out Porro time and time again. And the amount of times like Digne putting across and he was blocking it and he was getting those tackles in, another tireless runner. And that's an element to his game that's really, really improving. And I think yesterday was one of his better defensive displays. And off the back of what was the game Ange said, I think maybe it was West Ham, who he obviously didn't score, but Ange said, that was one of your best performances of the season because of the work you did, and he might have topped it for this one.
Yeah, I think he did. And you're looking at it, last season, what was a big criticism of Brennan is his defensive aspect and, tracking back and really mucking in for the team, because we know he can get those goal contributions even when he's not playing at the top of his game. But he's taken that to a new level this season in terms of his work rate. And you've got Brennan Johnson, you've got Dom Solanke, you've got Pape Matar, and you've got Kulusevski. The work rate that these four players put in, and Sonny to be fair, the work rate that all these players put in on a weekly basis is just phenomenal. It really is. Let's move on to the substitutes. Richarlison, sevens for Richarlison. He's come on. He had to go off through injury, which is really unfortunate for him. And my heart goes out for Richarlison because the poor guy just cannot stay fit. And, we tried to manage his minutes. We brought him back slowly and he still got injured and pulled his hamstring in this game. But he's come on. I felt like he came on again, like against City, with a bit of a point to prove. He was looking dangerous. He was looking energetic. He was looking, really bang at it, to be fair. And he plays a lovely ball to Dominic Solanke for the goal. Unbelievable assist. But unfortunately, he had to go off.
Yeah, you can see it if you watch the replay. As soon as he plays that pass, he pulls up with the hamstring. So, such a big blow for him because, as we said, last couple of games, he's looking a lot sharper. I know he looked a bit off it in the Arza game and maybe against Palace when he came on, but I thought against City and against and yesterday, off the left, he's definitely looking a lot sharper recently, and maybe it's less pressure on him because he's not always playing with back to goal and hold up the ball. Maybe he's playing with the ball in front of him a bit more, and maybe that's been helping him. But I think he's definitely looking a lot better in the last couple of games, and then gets the assist. Brilliant, as you said, brilliant pullback. Because I think a lot of players in his position there, especially a player like Richarlison, he's a big money signing. He wants to earn his way back in the team, and he wants to prove how valuable he can be. I think a lot of players would have been selfish there and taken the shot and said I'm the player, I should be starting, kind of thing. But he didn't. He laid it off for his teammate Solanke. Let's be honest, as a player who's taken his place in the team, but he was not selfish in that moment. He laid it off for him, who just allowed him to get that open goal. Brilliant pass as well. A lot harder than it seems to play that pass just behind all the Villa defenders. Make sure it's not being cut out. Brilliant ball, good run as well. Made that sprint for the team to help Pape Sarr in that moment, just to exploit that space in behind the Villa defence. And I thought he had a really good cameo. And it's just such a shame that it was just that moment. It was that assist. Basically, he put his body on the line for the team because he got that assist at the cost of himself. And such a shame. And let's see how bad it is. But it's just another blow to him. And it's just he can't catch a break at the moment, Richarlison.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Let's move on to Yves Bissouma. Sevens all round for Bis. Came on for Rodrigo Bentancur on the 55th minute mark. I felt like Rodrigo was kind of like weaning in the game, and I thought Bissouma came on and gave us those extra legs and those fresh legs that we needed in that moment in time. I don't think it was a spectacular performance from Bissouma, but I think he gave us what we needed in that number 6 position, and I'm starting to get quite impressed with Bissouma's long passes as well. I think he's putting them on the money on quite a regularity, so it's really nice to have, isn't it, when you've got Bissouma and Bentancur sharing that number 6 position, and we don't really mind which one plays. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and I thought Bissouma came on and just added that little bit of energy. As I say, I think Bentancur maybe had a knock, and Bissouma came on. And if you see I think it was for the third goal, Pau Torres is looking to play that ball in forward, and I think he's looking to play it into Ramsey, I think, and Bissouma just snaps at the heels, wins it back, it goes back to Torres, and obviously then Sarr wins the ball back. But he just added that little bit of bite, a little bit of energy that we needed to sustain that pressure. And I think he was really good from him, and it was no surprise that Villa struggled to really create anything after he came on, because all of a sudden that energy allowed us to physically dominate them in the middle of the park. And it was a really good cameo from him.
Ben Davies up next. 8s all round for Ben Davies. Was a bit of a man mountain at the back. At one point in the game, they go 2 up top, bring on Duran, and they put Ollie Watkins solely on Ben Davies, and I thought he stood up to the challenge really well. Was involved in the goal as well. Unbelievable the way he stepped up and won that ball in that interception, and sent us on our way to score a goal. And, a lot of people criticised Ben Davies and were worried when he came on, but he stands up to the challenge. And again, like on Wednesday night against Manchester City, people were worried when he came on, but it didn't affect us at all. And that's a credit to Ben Davies and his professionalism and his quality as well.
Yeah, I think let's give Ben Davies his props, because he comes under a lot of criticism. A lot of people say this and that about him, and us included. He's not good enough. He's this and he's that, but last two games, two massive games for Spurs and two big moments as well when we're 2-1 up against City and they've just got back in the game and then Romero goes off and he comes on. You're fearing the worst and he doesn't put a foot wrong. And in fact, you can argue we get better with him on the pitch. He does absolutely brilliant. And then again yesterday, Romero again flies into a challenge into Rodgers. He injures himself doing it. The game's still at 1-1 at this point as well. And Davis is coming on. And actually, you're thinking at that point, they bring on Duran, right? We've got Ben Davis and Dragoshin at the back. The game's at 1-1.
What did you say to me at that point?
I said when it was at that point, I was like, if we don't concede, I'll be shocked. And fair play to Davis because I thought he came on and not only he did a good job for the team, I thought he was brilliant. And the second goal doesn't happen if it's not for Ben Davis, and that comes from him being brave as well. I think a lot of players in that position, if you watch it back, Watkins is basically through on goal if he misses that challenge. I think a lot of defenders don't go towards Watkins but actually back off and try and contain him. But Davis doesn't do that. I think maybe under instruction from Ange, but Davis doesn't do that. He looks to try and win the ball. He's aggressive in that challenge because if he knows he misses it, Watkins is in. He doesn't miss it. He wins that ball aggressively, gets us back on the front foot and actually leads to the second goal. And I thought they didn't really trouble him. Like what he dealt with Watkins well. Duran couldn't get involved in the game. I thought on the ball he was confident as well. Didn't really have too many lapses on the ball. He was confident, composed, and brilliant showing from him. He came on in what was a very dangerous moment for us with the game at 1-1, as I say. Could have gone either way at that point. But we went on to win the game, and a large part was because of his cameo, and fair play to him because, doesn't always get the credit he deserves, but he should over the last two games. Yeah, absolutely.
James Maddison came on for the last 7 minutes, ended up playing about 27 minutes in the end because there was 10 minutes added on time. I've given him an 8, Sim's given him a 7. Didn't make the biggest impact in terms of his general play, but obviously what he did is score that free kick.
Yeah.
And right on the money. It was an unbelievable free kick. I asked Sim when he's putting the ball down, do you think this is too close for him to dink it in the goal? And you know what? It was a free kick of the highest order, and it was a long time since we've seen a free kick at Spurs. What was the last free kick that we scored? Was it Harry Kane?
Harry Kane against Brentford, but he was kind of laid off for him and he shot. The last proper direct free kick I think was I think Ericsson away at Norwich.
Ericsson away at Norwich. That long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's one you can say Son against Watford. That was a cross that went all the way in. So I don't know if that counts. But
that's mad. That must have been 2021 or something.
That was 2019, I think.
2019. Oh my
2019.
Days. That can't be the last direct free kick that
I think
scored.
so.
Is that the last direct free kick that we scored?
Yeah, that was just straight from a shot. I think so.
If anyone can remember one closer than that, then or in less time than that, let me know. But that is mad to think about the free kick takers that we've had come through this club. Like Sonny, unbelievable free kick taker. Maddison, obviously, he's been here for a season.
All of Sonny's free kicks off him, and Kane was never good at them.
Mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. But look, props to James Maddison because he came on with a good attitude as well. And easy for someone like James Maddison, to come on a bit sulking, being dropped out of the team for a 21 or 22-year-old Pape Matar. But he came on with a good mentality and good application and got himself on the score sheet.
Yeah, and I think it was important. You saw after the game the way Ange hugged Maddison and kind of, I wonder what he was saying to him at the end of the game. But I'm sure it was along the lines of, look, you're going to be a very important player for us. I know last couple of games you haven't been in the team, but you're still a massive player for us. So, don't get your head down. Brilliant free kick he scored. And I think he came on and had a good impact. And his pass as well into Solanke led to the free kick. I thought, what I love about, this is about Spurs in general, but I love in the last 10 minutes or how we controlled that game. It was absolutely brilliant. I thought Maddison was a big part of that when he came onto the pitch. And obviously he steps up. What I love about the free kick as well, on the edge of the box, is you see a lot of players, usually the whistle goes and they set their sights and fire it in. But what he did was, as soon as the whistle went, he didn't even think for a second. He just ran and just dinked it into the corner and didn't give Martinez a second to think about it. And I think that little bit of cleverness was what got us the goal and got him the goal. And it was an excellent strike. I think that's his 9th Premier League free kick that he scored as well, his 50th Premier League goal. So big up to him. And look, as much as he's been out the team recently, and I know Pape's been brilliant, I think he's going to have a big part to play for us. He's going to be in the side for a lot of games. I'm sure there'll be games where he can play with Decky as well. Maybe even next game against Ipswich, he'll be back in the team. So I think, yes, Pape's playing very well at the moment and you can't drop him, but doesn't mean that's going to be how it's going to be for the whole season. I think Maddison will have a big part to play, I'm sure of it. And that was just a nice, timely reminder of the quality he has.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's finish off on Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. Made 2 changes from midweek, and obviously Aston Villa had a completely fresh team. I think they made 9 or 10 changes from midweek when they went out, and we went through at the expense of Manchester City. And I think it showed a little bit in the first half, because I thought we were a bit leggy. I thought we were a bit lethargic. We weren't moving the ball quick enough. At half-time, he made a few tactical tweaks and it looked a lot better straight from the off. The changes that he made really impacted the game as well. Richarlison coming on for Sonny, where everyone was like, wow, how can Sonny go off so early on in the game? But Richarlison comes on, grabs an assist, and then Richarlison goes off injured. James Maddison comes on and scores the free kick. So Bentancur, who's having such a good first half, he goes off. Bissouma comes on and makes a really good impact. So I feel like the changes that he's making in game and the tactical tweaks that he's making in game is really setting us apart at the moment. And obviously the way he's getting the work rate out of this team is brilliant, and he's made the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium an absolute fortress as well. So I can't commend him enough for the game that he managed on the weekend.
Yeah, and it's another game where he's made changes and he's made proactive changes and it's paid off for us. And I know first half wasn't the best. It didn't really go our way and we were 1-0 down. And, you know, especially when you're losing to a team like Villa, you know, you're always worried, are they going to counter-attack you? Are they going to be clever? But again, this was a team who put in such a massive effort on Wednesday night, and it would have been more tempting to make a few more changes, bring in Maddison, who hadn't played, and things like that. But he didn't. He went with pretty much a similar team that played on Wednesday. And I think it absolutely paid off. And I thought second half we were absolutely phenomenal. And we got the goal very early on. He made those changes. All the subs made an impact. Maddison came on and scored. Richarlison came on, got an assist. Ben Davies came on and was absolutely brilliant. Bissouma came on, gave us those extra legs. And I think Villa couldn't live with that. And I think the effort and the work rate, the intensity we were playing at points was just absolutely fantastic. Villa just didn't know what to do. They tried to play the ball forward, passing between the lines, but our pressing was just too strong, and that's the way Andrew's coached the team. And I thought he managed the game yet again phenomenally well at home, and I think we obviously absolutely deserved the victory, and we blew them away at the end. So phenomenal management yet again from Ange, and yeah, delighted.
Yeah, in a massive game as well against Aston Villa. And they must be sick to the death of us at the moment, because the last 2 times we've played them, we've absolutely played them off the park. 4-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then 4-0 at the what was it, March time last year? It March time last year? So 8 goals and 1 conceded against our last 2 games against Aston Villa. So brilliant stuff from Ange Postecoglou and the team. So that is our player ratings. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. A couple of super chats to go through. Lazy 8, Nick Lazy 8, big up to yourself, my friend. And he says either Udogie or Porro has to start on Thursday, and both probably have to play. I don't love that. You know what? I disagree. I want to see a completely changed team. I really would not prioritise this game by any stretch of the imagination. We've won 3 games so far in the Europa League. There is no need to exert ourselves in this game. If we lose, then so be it. I mean, I really don't mind that.
I agree. I think leave Son at home, leave Solanke at home, leave
start Will Lancashire. That's what I would do.
Leave Udogie at home. Like leave. I think maybe play great. Maybe Porro can play because he didn't play on against City, but you know, maybe he can stay. But I'm worried about centre backs. Because I'm sure Romero's probably out. Van der Ven's probably also out. So I don't know if he has a choice but to play Dragoshin and Davis. But if either of them picks up an injury in that game, I don't know what we'll do. Who will play there against Ipswich?
Gray at centre back.
Maybe Gray at centre back. Yes, play left back.
Yeah, true.
So a few decisions there, but I think Solanke's just put in such a big effort. I think Johnson as well.
I'd leave Decky at home as well.
Decky, he's put in a massive effort. Leave him at home. Obviously, I think players like Maddison probably you take. Obviously, Bergvall, people like that. Maybe take one of Bissouma, Bentancur. But I think there's players. Basically, a lot of the players who played 90 minutes against City and against Villa, just leave them at home for this one. Keep them fresh for Ipswich. Don't want to cause too many injuries.
Yeah. Steve with the super chat. No comment, just the super chat. So I'd like to thank you very much for that. And the soul of soul, Mr. Brian Kim. Big up to yourself, my friend. And he says, Pape is first for us. And in Ange's squad, we love him 4-1. Come on, you Spurs. Very surprised he's saying Pape is number one. I'm pretty sure he should say Sonny's number one.
No, Pape's number one at the moment. Come on.
And Faz Radfar 3-1 Spurs says, most goals scored, fourth least against clueless Ange, with a laughing emoji.
Exactly.
It's quite amazing that we've scored the most in the league and we're still sitting only like seventh.
I know. Well, that's we have scored them more obviously in clusters. I think 12 of them in coming 3 games because we scored 4 again yesterday, 4 West Ham, and did we get another, and 4 against Everton. So a few of them have been big score lines, but look, I think for me, the performances we've shown for a lot of the season, I think a large amount of them have been good, and these results have been coming. And we've been unlucky in a few games, but I think by and large, these results have been coming if you've been watching us in games. So it doesn't surprise me that all of a sudden it's starting to click now.
Well, we've got over 1,000 people watching with us at the moment, so big up to each and every one of you. Get smashing those likes, people. We've only got 193 likes and over 1,000 in here with us. And also download the SofaScore app, which we'll be going through in a minute on the match review. The link is in the description, and also there's a QR code on the screen if you want to download it. But before we get into the match review, we haven't spoken to Mr. Brian Daigle in a while, and last time he came on, it wasn't working, so we thought we'd bring him on early on this stream. So let's go to Brian Daigle.
Hey, Brian. I think, are you on mute, Brian?
Not again. Brian?
For God's sake, Brian. One sec. Can't hear him. All right, bring him off. We'll try and reconnect. We'll try and reconnect Brian Daigle in a minute.
I swear, this always happens with this guy.
We have to see what we can do to get Brian Daigle back on. What?
Brian! What are you doing here?
Oh my God!
How are we doing? What is going on?
No place like home.
Oh, Brian, there
No place like home.
Oh, Brian, there you go.
How are we doing, everyone?
Brian, there you
You can hear him, so
go.
there's only other option. You have to come to the studio.
That's it. I came all the way from Toronto to sort out these sound issues. Mate, there's no place like home. It's good to be back in the studio.
Brian, give me some skin, brother.
It's all good, all good. What a day to come back.
Oh, Brian,
what a
so
game.
good to have you in the studio, brother.
Mate, it feels so. It's still weird to me. Like everything being back home right now is weird, but there is no place like home, and this is it.
This is it indeed. Just one quick more super chat. Oh, it's actually not pulling through, but Jory sent us a super chat. Where is it?
He says a point too low rating. Man of the match, Dom Key, OTM Sar. What's OTM?
Don't know. On the money?
On the money, maybe? I don't think that's what
Big up to the Jory.
Cool.
But anyway, let's get into the match review. And Brian, unbelievable performance yesterday. I think you just about landed in London.
Yep.
I don't know how you must have been absolutely knackered watching that game. And after watching the first half, you're probably falling asleep a little bit because it was a bit lethargic, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally, we pulled up at my parents' house and surprised my nephews and niece. Literally, just as kickoff was going on, the first half was a real slow burner, wasn't it? We were trying to attack, but Villa had answers to everything. Then they got that goal, which was quite fortunate. A couple of deflections from our players. 1-0 down. Did I see that performance coming in the second half? No. Was it a joy to watch? Yes. And it just goes to show what we're doing in the second half at home. We just absolutely pulled them apart.
Yeah, we really did. And I said it before, but they must be sick to the sight of us. 4-0 last season. Yes, they got the better of us because they finished above us at the end of the day. But this stage, early in the season, it was really important for us to get those 3 points, because if they win yesterday, then they got 8 points ahead of us. And we really showed them what we're about yesterday.
Not just that, just very quickly, happy birthday, Unai Emery, yesterday. I mean, you couldn't think of a worse present, could you?
The look on his face at the end of that game was a picture, wasn't it?
He didn't know what to do, did he? But like I said, that second half, I just heard you guys doing the player ratings, just that second half performance. God knows what Ange said. because something got into them and they were just magnificent in that second half, to each and every one of them.
Yeah, they really were.
But you know, first half, 1-0. Well, you know, obviously we go 1-0 down, and look, let's be honest, we were struggling that first half. And I don't think it was like you know, Villa were battering us or anything, but you know, Onana was dominant in that middle. Like we just couldn't get past Onana. It seemed in that first half. They obviously had a few chances. Onana hit the post. Watkins had was through on goal and he put it wide. And obviously they did get the goal from a corner yet again. We concede from a corner. So in that first half, you know, what was the overriding thoughts for you?
Well, seriously, you know what? First of all, you say yet again from a corner. What's that? The second corner this season.
Yeah, true.
So I know why you're saying it, because last season was a problem, but it's 2 set pieces, and this one, as Ben was saying before, it was a great save from Vicario, and then obviously a striker's there to gobble it up and put it in the back of the net. But yeah, the first half, I was like, oh, here we go. I couldn't hear much of the atmosphere at the stadium because obviously I had all the kids and everything going mad, but I can imagine it was a little bit tense and like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And here comes
there were a few boos at half time.
This is the thing. And do you know what? In some ways, I can kind of understand, kind of like with the first half performance, 1-0 down. Got to remember, a lot of people saying we haven't beaten a big rival. And Aston Villa, whether you want to call them a top 4 team, right, which they are at the moment, but right now they are a big rival and probably challenging if Spurs can keep it together for that 4th spot. And to put a marker down like that, it just goes to show at home we are a completely different animal to away, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very. I think it was really easy maybe to criticise Ange at half time because of the lack of changes that we made from Wednesday night. And obviously it was a massive effort to go through against Man City on Wednesday night. A lot of the players were out on their feet towards the end of that game. And to only make 2 changes, whether it was Sonny and Pedro Porro, I was thinking, you know, at points during that first half, I was really feeling it from Wednesday night. And, you know, Ange just played a blinder after that.
Completely. He deserves, like, I watched it again back on Match of the Day 2 and saw the analysis when they broke down the second half. And obviously you can see the difference with Destiny not being inverted. He was going out wide. That's the same with Porro. And it's making a huge difference, isn't it? Those subtle things are making a huge difference. And obviously Sarr and Bentancur, or Sarr, whoever it is in midfield, having those 2 holding or runners compared to 2 creative, I think seems having a major impact, isn't it?
Having what? Sorry,
the 2 more runners rather than 2 creative, like rather than Kulu and Maddison.
Right. Just physically to keep up. Yeah, and I agree with that. I actually thought in the first half I was thinking maybe we need Maddison because at the moment, you know, we're not doing much in the final third. And I was like, you know, Pape, with all his running, and when he gets to the final third, we're not actually, you know, breaking down, and they're sitting deep in this low block. They're doubling up on both our wingers, and we're struggling to get any sort of joy on either side. And then in the middle, you know, apart from, you know, Decky, Bentancur was getting on the ball a bit, but Pape wasn't doing much. Solanke wasn't getting involved in the game. With both wingers, whenever they got on the ball, all they were doing is cutting inside. They weren't getting to the bylines, and I felt like maybe, you know, we need a Maddison to come on and inject a bit of ingenuity, a bit of guile into that midfield. And that didn't happen in the second half. We didn't make any changes at a half time, but clearly there were some tactical tweaks because, you know, what we said in the first half, you know, Udogie and especially him was kind of underlapping all the time, and he wasn't kind of taking away John McGinn from Son. And in that first half, when John McGinn and Cash were doubling up on him, all of a sudden Udogie was coming a bit further out wide, and then all of a sudden it gave them something extra to think about, and all of a sudden we got a bit of extra space, and that's obviously where the cross came from. So we didn't need to change personnel. It was more of a tactical switch. And Dom Solanke said after the game, you know, we came in at half time and we just had a discussion about different things we need to do to ask different questions of Aston Villa and how we're going to approach it. And clearly the things they thought of worked. And sometimes that can happen in games, because sometimes in games like yesterday where things are going well for Villa and not for us, but they're only 1-0 up, because they're only 1-0 up, they're always going to keep it the same thing. That's what Unai said. He said in the second half, you know, we thought we'd just keep it in the same way that we'll keep it because it's going well. We'll just keep with the same plan. But because things haven't gone well and we're changing, all of a sudden we can have a different dynamic to our game because we're going to change things up and they have to react to that. And we did change a few things tactically in that second half, and absolutely worked a treat for us. And I thought for those first 10 minutes, Sonny was absolutely dynamite, wasn't he, in those first 10 minutes?
Yeah, that ball you two were talking about, that ball was just incredible. It's a striker's dream, or in this case, Johnson's dream, to be on the end of crosses like that, isn't it? And we weren't getting them in, and then he had the opportunity because Destiny went wide, and it was just a delicious cross, wasn't it? And fair play for Brennan putting it away the way he did.
Yeah, it really was.
That's just the quality he has, isn't it?
Yeah,
world-class ability.
This is Sonny that we're talking about. You know, he's probably. You're going into this season talking about this is the only world-class player, actual world-class player, and talent that we have. And he shows it. He shows it week in, week out whenever he gets on the pitch. And I felt like, I said it in the player ratings, but I felt like it was Sonny's quality. It was Sonny, the way he stepped up in that second half that actually clawed us back into that game and gave us that confidence to go on and absolutely batter them.
Yep, you're right. And obviously, I and many people after the post-game were going, where are the leaders? We had Maddison and... Romero on the pitch for that one, and you see the difference when you have Heung-min Son on the pitch, don't you? Like, a lot of people will question whether he is their captain, as in, do you identify with him as a captain compared to like a Razor Ruddock, a Stuart Pearson, Adams, Vieira, Keane, all those hard nuts, and that's where I look. But Sonny's shown with his ability on the pitch, this is why he's the captain.
But the game has kind of moved on from those kind of captains, hasn't it?
It has, but I think you still need someone with a bit of steel in there to do it. But Sonny is showing the difference when he's on this pitch and leading the team compared to the others, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Let's go and look at the stats from the game, brought to you by SofaScore. The link is in the description and QR code on screen. So as you can see, you know, possession was actually fairly split, you know, 51% to 49% in our favour, 2.44 XG to 1.86 XG. But in terms of the possession, Sim, do you feel like that's just more testament to Ange maybe being able to adapt to situations?
Yeah, and look, we know on Wednesday we had to have a game where we had 30% possession, and we had to be a bit more transitional. And actually, in the first half, you look at the possession stats, I think we had a bit more possession than Villa in that first half. Yet it was about us coming onto Villa and Villa sitting deep and you know, not allowing us to break them down. And it was very much a low block job. The second half was very different. Actually, Villa had more possession than us in that second half, and again, that game turned a bit more transitional. It's a bit of a theme with Tottenham where when the game becomes a bit more transitional, that's kind of what we like because we're so intense.
That's where we're at our best, though.
Yeah, exactly. We play such fast football, don't we? And we get the ball forward very, very quickly. And we're very good with these quick interchanges, and because we're so good at pressing, those transitions when the game opens up is where we really we really take advantage, and that's what happened in that second half. Obviously, it needed that goal from Son. It needed a bit of quality to do that, and the first goal wasn't really a transition. It was, you know,
did feel like a goal from Son, to be fair.
Huh?
It did feel like Sonny's goal.
No, I'm saying it wasn't a transition goal. It was kind of a manufactured transition, but obviously it was from our own build-up. The centre-backs played it out wide to Doggy, who plays it down the line to Son, who then opens up the space, and then brilliant ball across the face of goal. But that led to the game, because then the game's out even, and Villa opening up a bit more. It's not such a low block from there. And obviously also, when Duran comes on for Rodgers, I think that made a big difference as well, because it just gives a bit more space in the middle of the pitch when there wasn't before. All of a sudden, we were able to transition the ball a lot more, and as soon as we got the ball, we could play fast, direct attacks. And when you got the likes of Brennan on the right, when you got maybe not as much Richarlison, but you got a lot of these forward players. They're very good in transition. Well, I think we're one of the best transitional teams out there. That's why teams want to stop these transitions. So I think that's what happened in that second half. We were pressing Villa in these moments. They were getting a bit tired as well. They were getting a bit leggy. They struggled to keep up with us. And all of a sudden, as soon as their passing waned a bit, we took full advantage of that, and we were just hitting that space time and time again. And it wasn't, to be honest, I don't think it was a game where we created like loads of chances or like we was like a battering. We were just super clinical, and when we had our chances, we took them. And
that's what we've been calling for. You know, you look at the games where we've dropped points in Leicester, Newcastle, even Brighton to a certain extent. That's why we've lost these games, because we've not been clinical enough, particularly the former two in Leicester and Newcastle. We have not got maximum points because we've not been clinical enough. And at home, we've been super clinical this season. How many goals have we scored just from at the Lane this season?
15.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's madness.
15 in 5 games, I think.
Any team that come here is fearing at the moment because we're just. I mean, the Arsenal game aside, we've smashed everyone. Everyone.
Well, you look at it as well, Ben, as you were just saying. I'm not going to say Ange's now got a plan B, but we were, like you mentioned, the Brentford game, he didn't invert the wingers, fullbacks. They stayed wide. The Manchester City game, like you mentioned, they were always going to be better us in possession, and we counter-attacked and did it. Is Ange Postecoglou seeing things now and saying, right, there's certain times, I've said it when I've come on your show as well, I think Brennan Johnson, that run of goals he went on, most of his goals came from when we were counter-attacking. We got the ball, high turnover, bang, we went for. Has he seen that the best way to get these players on the ball and do what they're doing has been to play a more counter-attack or transitional type of football? Because there are subtle changes he's making. We're all saying.
Well, I think we saw it since the Brentford game, didn't we? Because that Brentford game, we gave up possession to a team like Brentford, which you got to feel like is a plan because you don't give up possession. You don't let Brentford have more possession than you unless you want them to, in a way, especially the way we play. So I feel like that was a definite deliberate plan. And ever since then, there's been a few games where we've, just given up a little bit of possession, a little bit of territory, just so that opens up the game a bit more, allows the opposition onto you a tiny bit more, just so when we win the ball back, we can hit them. And because we're so aggressive in those pressing moments, as soon as we win the ball back, we are very, very direct and we can hit these teams. And it's been devastating last few games for sure. And obviously against Man City, it was fairly similar. We were hitting them in these transitions. Brentford, we hit them in these transitions. West Ham, I mean, we obviously we did very well with the second goal to open them up with a lovely piece of build-up play, but the third and fourth goal, devastating transitional football again. And that is something that I think maybe at the beginning of the season we weren't doing as much. I think beginning of the season we were dominating, but we were having like 70% of the ball and we were struggling to break teams down. They were sitting very, very low. But maybe we adapted to a bit where we were saying, yes, we still want to obviously be the team on the front foot, and we're always going to look for goals. But maybe if we give up a tiny bit of possession, allow the team just to have a bit of the ball, just so they come out a bit, and then once we win the ball, we can hit them with all that space. And maybe he's adapted a bit over the last few weeks.
After seeing these performances, though, like against Villa, against West Ham, against Everton, Brentford, all these games that we've had at home where we've absolutely battered it, it just makes me so frustrated for these games that we've dropped points in this season. The games I was talking about before, but then you have the Crystal Palace game where we were dreadful for 90 minutes. And you're thinking, well, where would we be if we took our chances in those opening games? We'd be up there alongside a Man City and a Liverpool.
Could well be. But that's the annoying thing. It just shows you from 1 week how long a week in football could be. We were absolutely diabolical against Palace, Got the result against Manchester City and looked very good in that first half and later on in the second half. And then yesterday, it just goes to show that a result like that, it then, like you said, just ask questions. Why couldn't they fight away from home? What is it that they're not doing? But we learn from our mistakes and hopefully we'll start an away winning run soon.
Yeah, it's got to be done because that's the question mark about this team now. Yep. Because we've answered all critics. We've made this stadium a fortress, in my opinion, in the early stages of this season. Like I said before, I don't think anyone wants to come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to play the way that we're playing, hunting impacts. When we win it high up the pitch, our turnovers and our transitional play to when we do win it high up the pitch is absolutely dynamite. But we need to figure out a way to transform that into our away performances now because it doesn't seem to be materialising.
Correct. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and that's a problem Ange has to sort out for sure. And look, it's a learning curve. It's obviously away games are typically harder than home games for a reason. There's a reason why there's home advantage, and that is something we have to figure out. As he said, it's a young team. It's a team which has to go through these experiences to learn from them, and that's what's happened so far this season. The 4 different away games that we haven't won, I don't think it's all been the same problem. There's been different problems in all those kind of games. Leicester and Newcastle's all more about missing chances. Against Brighton, it's all about we played really well and then we completely gave up that advantage in the second half. Against Palace, we got out tactics and physically dominated, and we weren't up for the fight in that game. So there's been different problems in these away games, and look, we have to sort them out. But at least these home performances give us a really good platform to build off, and that's really, really important.
Yeah, and Ange said it. We just had to make this place a fortress, and finally he's done. Well, I say finally, but it's taken him a year. I think even last season we were looking a lot we were looking strong at home, but this year he's taken up to a whole new level. He really has.
And these are 2 games, West Ham and Villa. We lost those home games last year.
Well, deserved to win both of them, didn't we?
And we won 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1 both times. I just want to look at the average positions of the players, which plays into what you were saying, Sim, about how Dom Solanke was, very high up the pitch. And we've looked at his average position the past couple of games, and it's more or less he was playing as like a midfielder. But
a lot of the time, Decky's higher than him in the average position.
And he was the highest player by some distance in this one.
Yeah, and I think maybe that it hints to a bit more of a change of position, getting further forward, not dropping as deep as he has done in some other games. I don't know if this is game specific or this is what we're going to be seeing more of, but I don't think it's any coincidence that he spent more time closer to goal, and obviously he got a lot more chances in this one than he was getting in the last few games.
But isn't it like just something that we've seen from Ange on a consistent basis, where whenever he's asked a question about something in a press conference, he just bats it away like it's nothing? It's like he was asked, are you worried about Dom Solanke and the lack of goals and how high he's on the pitch and stuff like that? And he's like, nah, it's not a problem. Solanke's, what did he say? That he's impacting the team so well. And he was basically saying what we've been saying throughout the whole season, saying, he's playing so well, the goals have come, blah, blah, blah. And then in this specific game, straight after answering those questions, he's the highest man on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And look, what do you have? 5 shots, 3 on target, and obviously the 2 goals. Proper number 9 performance. I think, look, I've been delighted with him since he's come here. I think his level of performance overall has been top notch, and he does such an unbelievable job for the team off the ball. We know he's relentless presser. He works so hard, but I honestly think on the ball as well, he's got quality. He's got great hold up play, and he's strong. But obviously, when you've signed a £65 million striker as your number 9, they are going to be judged on goals. If he ends the season with 5 goals, I don't care how well you've played, he's going to be judged on that. So I think it's important for him to start getting being in those goal scoring positions, getting in the back of the net. As much as, obviously, if he scores 5 goals, but we're in a great position because he's playing so well, maybe it doesn't matter as much. But obviously, with his goal tally last season, that's something that's going to be held against him. And 6 games without a shot on target, as much as he's playing well, I don't really care that much that's happened. You don't want that to go on for too long, do you? You don't want to be 10 games without a shot on target or anything, because then big questions start to be asked. So the fact he answered those critics with a proper number 9's display in this game was a timely reminder of how good this guy is in front of goal, and why we've bought him, and how he is when he does get in those goal scoring positions. And that finish for the run and finish for the second goal was like a striker who's already in banging form in terms of goal scoring, and didn't look like a guy who has been a bit shot shy in front of goal, because he just took that with such unbelievable composure against a very good keeper in Martinez, who's made a reputation of making big saves in those kind of moments, and he just chipped it over him like he wasn't even there. It's a phenomenal finish from him, but it's just the movement from him, isn't it? He's never stops moving, and he's the defender's nightmare, isn't he?
He is. I will say with his first goal, not only was it a great finish, but just staying on side. We saw how tired he was and just not moving too early. The second goal, brilliant vision from Richarlison and put it away beautifully. But Simeon, you mentioned it. The greatest thing that I saw him do, forget the goal. We've all wanted to get the goals, but it's what you mentioned in like the 100th minute, that tackle on Pau Torres. When I watched back this morning on match day, they were saying, even Phil Jones said, the defender thinks you're beating the press. I can play the part. I've got tight. He's just all over you. You do not get a minute's peace. His work rate, when we signed him, everyone was saying his work rate, his press, his work rate, and for the team is incredible. Wait till you see it. I'm blown away by the actual work rate he does. He needed to get goals, and it's the manner, the goals he had to score previously have been tappings, haven't they? They've been goalkeepers parried him out. Apart from the Man U corner one, well, we saw 2 different goals, didn't we, yesterday? Yeah. The dink, which was magnificent, and then just keeping deep, ready for Richard to smash it in, like you said, with confidence. All types of goals, but his work rate and what he does for the team is absolutely magnificent. It must give.
I think he's probably the best in the league when it comes to that element of his game.
The physical side.
You just look at his work rate off the ball. Yeah. I don't know another striker who does that as well as he does.
You look at it as well. You see people talk about the press, and they say the press, you've got to have your striker go first, and the rest of the team go first. When Dom Solanke does it, it's got to give the rest of the team, right? He's gone. It's got to have a knock-on effect for the rest of the team, and they see him just constantly running. I think he's been a great addition.
I guess another striker that does it well is probably Kai Havertz. He's very good off of the ball. So I think when you're looking at,
I don't think he has that proper aggression that Solanke has.
I think he's got pretty good aggression. I put Solanke is better than Kai Havertz, but I think when you're comparing them as maybe number 9s, I mean, in terms of profile-wise and what they're bringing to the team, I think you can probably compare them.
And now look, we spent obviously big money on him, 65 million in the summer. A lot of people questioning it. A lot of people saying, you know, why him and not, you know, Tony or Gyökeres or someone else. I know Gyökeres has been brilliant as well this season, but you know, looking at what you've seen so far, 10 games in, like, what are you now? You convinced, you know, if this is money well spent?
When we went for Solanke, I didn't understand it. I didn't, because I just saw the price. I thought, right, that if you're going to break your transfer record, I thought Hollywood name. I went big. I thought I wanted Gyökeres. But then when we signed him, all these videos started coming out about his pressing, about what his work rate. And the other stat I saw that I loved is last season he was the #1 striker for headed goals. And I'm like, that's massive. Now we just need to find regular quality service to bring to him. But did I think his work rate and his work for the team was this big? Blown away by that. We saw he scored goals last season. Yes, they've been stop-start here, but yesterday's performance just wrapped up everything he can do for us. And like you said, it's just keeping him fit, because he was exhausted after Man City, wasn't he? But he's still putting a performance like that. Magnificent.
He's exceeded my expectations massively, Dom Solanke. Like, I didn't know how good he actually was, like, on the ball with his dribbling. I knew, like, in terms of his pressing, his hold-up play, his finishing ability, I knew he had that. But I didn't know how good he was on the ball. Like, he can just take it past players, just like draw them out one-on-one and then whoop, one step to the side and see you later. Like, I didn't know he had that in his locker, and he's exceeded all my expectations coming to Tottenham Hotspur, and I think it's been a fantastic signing for us in this moment in time. But there's one player I want to talk to you, Brian, about, and that's Radu Dragusin, because you cast your mind back a year. Mickey van der Ven goes off injured against Chelsea, and we had to rely on Eric Dyer to come in that back four. It was Eric Dyer and Ben Davis. And when Romero got suspended for the sending off against Chelsea, or Emerson as well, had to step in. And obviously we're all fearing the worst, and our defence obviously massively felt it. But Mickey van der Ven goes off injured in the last, was it against Man City? Against Man City. Radu Dragusin steps in against a very good attacking side in Aston Villa, with the likes of Jacob Ramsey, Ollie Watkins, John Duran coming on, blah blah blah. I don't think we felt it at all, Mickey van der Ven. And how much of his testament is that to Radu Dragusin?
He's done very, very well. Excuse me, I'm like you. I think he's an old school, old-fashioned defender. Ask him to play the ball out. He needs to work on it and improve and get better. When you see it, especially with Van der Ven out, and you think, right, Romero's going to be on the right, he's on the left. We've seen that he's looked a little bit suspect on the left, but then when he switches to the right, it's looked much better. But he's played the left yesterday, and he did a really good job. Well, I think there is absolutely no doubting his defending, is there? Old school, old-fashioned defender that just loves to put in the challenge, loves to get ahead of clearance, loves to defend. It's the next part, which is a big part of the way we play football, bringing the ball out, which he needs to work on. But like you said, the last 2 games, and big testament to him when he's had to play with Davies as well. Because if you look at it, he did it against Coventry, and it was a nightmare. They did it against AZ, was it AZ Alkmaar they both played? And they did really well when Davies came on. And yesterday with Romero and then with Davies, very, very good performances.
Enter the dragon, as they say. Pape Matar, though, man. What a star this boy is, man. And I felt like, including us, we're probably guilty of it as well, just forgot how good and how impactful he actually is in this team. Because last year there were points where he was out injured, and then we're looking at it and being like, oh, we've lost so much balance in the midfield. Like, he was so important for us last season at certain points in the season. And then when he comes back from the AFCON, I don't think he ever kind of regained that form that he had beforehand. And maybe we were guilty of just forgetting how important and how good this boy can be. I feel like he's taking up to a new level this season.
Still only 22.
Still only 22. Yeah, it's mad to think about. And back last season, when he was in that form in the early stage of the season, we were talking about him as the best young midfielder in the Premier League. And I think he's going on to reclaim that now.
Okay, so listen, with Sarr, I'm like, at the start of the season, last season, he looked magnificent when he came in for that little period. I think towards the end of last year, I can't remember if it was him that had a little back niggle or something when he came back from the AFCON. But like I said, it was probably his first full season of playing non-stop football. and then going AFCONs and then coming back. And I don't know if it just all caught up with him. Then when he'd come on in the Premier League a couple of games, he didn't look his normal self. But in the Europa, he started showing signs of coming back to himself. And then since that West Ham game, when he came on and just completely changed the game, he was magnificent there. You could see we desperately missed him against Palace. And then you saw against City, and you saw exactly what he did yesterday. He is a colossus when he's on form. He is a big part of this recent way we're playing, and he was just so impressive yesterday. So impressive.
Yeah, and he combines like just incredible running power and physicality, but he's also got quality when he wants to on the pitch as well. Some of his passes was brilliant, but his involvement in the 2 goals can't be understated, because the first one gets the ball off Ben Davies, plays a beautiful ball in between the lines to Brennan Johnson. I think most players in that position probably look for the space out wide and try and play an easier pass, but he saw Brennan and Decky together in that centre. He just played an inch perfect pass in between the lines, led to the second goal. Brilliant way of passing to Richarlison for the 3rd goal as well. Just waited for the run, waited him to explore that space and create that. And also that came from him winning the ball back as well. And when he's in that kind of form, it's he's hard to stop, and he's got so much to admire about him. And I think he's just getting better and better. He showed it midweek. What technique he's got with that goal he scored against Man City from outside the box. So, hopefully we're going to see more and more of that from Pape Matar Sarr. And I just think his ceiling is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. To be like at this quality at 22, to put in 2 performances back-to-back on a Wednesday night against the Man City, and then again on a Sunday, the following Sunday against a good Aston Villa side, who, by the way, this Aston Villa side hadn't lost away from home all season. They'd won every game apart from one, which they drew to Ipswich. I mean, this was an on-form Aston Villa side. And not only that, but they rested pretty much their whole team midweek, where we played the majority of the same players. We made 2 changes, and
they couldn't keep up.
They just could not keep up with us. It was incredible to see. It really was. And Pape Matar Sarr is growing in to some star for Tottenham Hotspur. Where are you at with the Pape Sarr, James Maddison kind of situation?
I think, and what we're starting, like I said, I think we started this season, myself, I was thinking, oh God, do we have enough midfield quality? Do we have everything? I think a few of us would have done, but then you look at it, it's because Andrew's toyed around with playing the two creative. Do I think Maddison Kulusevski is working as a combination? Not really, for 90 minutes. I think there's something just missing in there, but the Bentancur, Sarr and Kulu, or changing Bissouma for Bentancur, that is working. There's certain games now where Ange can go, right, the 2 creators, and say, let's have it. And there's games where now he has to say, right, maybe the 2 bigger runners are more important. But I think Sarr, at the moment, for me, Sarr has to be probably first name on the team sheet for the midfield 3. Has to be, with his current form. I think he's been incredible.
Yeah, first name ahead of Kulu.
Oh, why did you do I
Yeah.
Okay, let's say the defensive one.
I just thought you can't drop Pape at the moment. He's playing too well. I do think, there were games where Maddison and Decky together, you thought, wow, this dynamic is brilliant. But, unfortunately, when it came to these, tough away games and physical battles, unfortunately, it wasn't enough, just them together. We needed a bit more, and we were too open. We couldn't control the game that we wanted to. Because there were some brilliant games. Brentford, they were brilliant together. Man United away, they were brilliant together. First half against
It's a
Brighton.
case-by-case basis, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that.
Like
but
Ipswich, I put Maddison in for Ipswich.
Yeah,
probably.
well, exactly. I would as well, and I think. It's brilliant that we have these options, when things are a bit more tougher and you need a bit more steel and running legs. You've got Sarr there who still has who's still got quality on his legs as well. And then when you need a bit more, just when you want to just go and absolutely go for a team, you can get Maddison and Decky there together, because Decky's still got really good running power and we've got good 6s at the moment they're covering. So it's really good problems to have at the moment with Sarr and Maddison. But it's going to be interesting, going forward how he navigates that, because, at the moment, Sarr, you just can't. It's hard to envisage taking him out of the team the way he's playing, and you've got to have one of Bentancur or Bissouma there, and that does leave Maddison with the way Decky's playing on the bench probably for at this moment in time. But Maddison is such a quality player. We saw when he came off the bench that free kick he scored. As I said, it was like a timely reminder of just the quality he has, because, you know, him being out the team last couple games and Sarr playing so well, it's easy to think, okay, that's our team now. And then Maddison comes on, just buries that free kick, and it's like, yeah, he's still there. He's still got that quality. We know how good he is. I actually think he's been good this season, Maddison. I don't think he's been bad. I don't think it's a him problem why he's out the team. I think it's just more the dynamic of the team why he's been out. So, yeah, look, it's going to be interesting, but I think it's just brilliant options to have for me. I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely true. And these are the headaches that we want to have, as opposed to maybe last season and previous years. We've had the headache of, you know, Eric Dyer with the injuries coming in. We're just like, oh my days. But now we're seeing a squad build in front of our very eyes. When you've got Bissouma and Bentancur both on form, you don't really mind which one plays. You've got James Maddison or Pape Sarr for the 8. You've got Richarlison coming off the bench making an impact. You've got Ange making changes from the bench and actually having impacts in games. When's the last time we've actually had a bench that we can call upon and have impacts in games?
Yeah, and even yesterday we had, look, I don't want to say it, but like Timo Werner played on Wednesday and scored and had a good game, and he didn't even play yesterday. Yeah. He did. I think he was on the bench, wasn't he? He didn't even come on, and that's a player who's made an impact in the last game and didn't even play. So those are players who we know. People like Bergvall, again, we know what a talent he is. Didn't have any minutes yesterday. So there's a lot of talent. Mikey Moore and Lancashire, you know, haven't even been thought of over the last couple of games. So you know, there's a lot of talent in this squad. And you know, Ange just said he's very bullish about the quality that we have in this team and the ceiling they have, and I can understand it. And what I love about yesterday's performance is, which I rarely see Tottenham do, is we were 3-1 up, and they announced 10 minutes of stoppage time, and even, you know, we're 3-1 up, you know, you still think we got Radu and Davis there, and if they do get a goal, it's going to be difficult for us. But I thought the way we managed that was amazing. Some of the football we played to keep them at arm's length and just play around them, and to see out that game was brilliant. Actually, that football we played led to obviously the free kick being won, and we end up getting that 4th goal. But I've never seen us see out a game so comfortably in what could have been such a precarious situation. Like in years gone by, even though we're 3-1 up, you'll probably still like feeling nervous on the edge of your seat. But that's what you get from always trying to play forward and be on the front foot. You get performances like that where you are sitting out the game so comfortably because everyone is so confident and confident on the ball, that even though if in a different situation, if we played a different way, for example, if we had Unai Emery as manager, probably in those last 10 minutes we're sitting really low and we're inviting the opposition onto us, but we didn't do that, and we just kept our game, we kept playing it around, and it led to Villa just chasing our tails.
It was calm, it was composed, and it was professional, and it was mature. I think those are the 4 words that explain it perfectly, for the way that we managed the last 10-20 minutes of that game. It really was.
And for people saying, you know, Ange is naive, he keeps going forward and we need to manage games, like that's how we want to see out games like that yesterday. It's not about, you know, maybe even like Arsenal, they would have invited the pressure on and maybe they would have seen it out, but it would have been a nervy ending. Like for us, that's not how we want to see out games. And yeah, maybe sometimes we'll go wrong, but more often than not, that's what Ange's vision is, how we want to see out games. It's like yesterday, dominating the ball.
It's who we are, mate.
It's who we are, and that's what I love. And you know, I don't want to. That, you know, people only bang on him when it goes wrong. Oh, he's naive and this and that. But when we goes right, like yesterday, I don't hear anyone praising us about how we saw out that game yesterday.
Yeah,
and we deserve praise.
Look, I think the criticisms come because, you know, we probably should be a lot higher up in the league than what we're showing at the moment, and maybe that's also a testament to Ange and how he's building this squad. But 7th in the league, early stage, still 10 games gone. We're sitting 2 points behind Arsenal. We're the top goal scorers in the league this season, 3 points behind 3rd.
Same goals conceded as well as Arsenal.
Same goals conceded as Arsenal, who apparently have the best defence in Europe, and we're like this open shop who everyone can just like walk through. Naive team to concede the same amount of goals to them so far, I think is really good. But you know, I think the caveat is always going to be those away performances, and until we improve those away performances, there's always going to be those question marks there.
And that has to be rectified. I don't even think it's performance. I know the Palace performance was bad.
Results, then, say.
Yeah, I would say results. Look, it needs to start swinging in our favour, but it's never easy. We saw Arsenal lose away at Newcastle, just like we did. Like, it's not easy going to these places. Brighton, look, we've been through it a million times, all these away games, but of course, winning 1 in 5. I think we've only got 4 points on the road this season in 5 games. That's obviously nowhere near good enough. But there's a lot of footballs we played that can be rectified. And I think Ange has shown a propensity to improve every time, as you say, a question's being asked of him. Things need to change and improve, set pieces, all these different things. He answers the question. So let's hope he can keep doing that.
Man City away next.
You know what? Why can't we? Why can't we take them the way they're playing?
Just to add that as well, after Crystal Palace, we were all saying, do you know what? Every single team around us dropped points. We couldn't take advantage. Have you seen the fixtures next week?
Yeah, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa.
Yeah, there's another one up. I think Brighton have got one of them. There's like 3 or 4
Brighton
games
City,
where they're all around us. So Spurs can get.
If we win next week, the table's going to look a lot better. Yeah, regardless of what the results are anywhere else. If we just get a win, we're going into this international break in a really strong position.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, let's leave it there. That is our match review from Spurs battering Aston Villa by 4-1. Spurs now sit 7th on 16 points with 3rd place on Forest on 19 points with Nuno.
Quickly talk about Villa, because we didn't speak about them much. We obviously marvelled over our result, but were you a bit disappointed in them yesterday?
I mean, no, because we just battered them and I was
not
just
disappointed,
enjoying
but did you expect more?
I did. I expected a lot more, and I think the Villa fans will be very upset by that performance because they didn't.
They had one tack to just lump into Watkins.
That's all they didn't play like they usually play. They didn't play. They're usually like quite energetic. They usually press high up the pitch.
Line, yeah.
I mean, I think I saw a stat on Match of the Day saying they didn't win the ball high up the pitch once the whole game, not once. That's a testament to Spurs first of all, but also the tactics on display by Unai Emery and Aston Villa on the day were a bit anti-football.
I felt like every time, especially in the second half, their only method was try and get Watkins isolated with one of our centre-backs and lump it forward to him and try and get some joy. And there was only one time they did, and they earned a free kick from it. But other than that, they very rarely troubled us and just allowed us to have the ball. And I think you're right. Like, I don't know if I think he also did the same thing at Villa Park. Like, I remember when we played them, he went to like a back 3, didn't he, or something? Or he changed up the system to kind of...
Unai's running scared of the Tottenham. What do you want?
Maybe showing us too much respect. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's fear if they come.
Danny Murphy said that on Match of the Day, saying Villa showed Spurs way too much respect.
But maybe he's feared if they just try and go toe to toe with us, they'll get battered like they do anyway.
But they got battered anyway.
But they did get battered. But first off, it was a struggle for us, and maybe that's how he envisaged the whole game going. But when you've got the quality we do, if you give us a bit too much space like they did, we give Son that space they did in the second half, and he can punish you. So it'd be interesting.
It wasn't too dissimilar to the game at Villa Park, right? In the early stages of that game, it was quite tight and pensive, and Villa had their chances and we had our, and then, as the game progressed, we just absolutely just started to batter them and be really clinical. So I think it was a very similar game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, it's John McGinn after the game saying, it's interesting. I was listening to John McGinn and Unai Emery, and you're thinking, obviously they're disappointed, but you would have thought losing a game like they did 4-1 and the way we won, they would have been a bit more disappointed. Like they would have been a bit more angry and stuff. And maybe it's because they respect how good we are or whatever, but they seem to be pretty content with the fact they lost 4-1. Like Emery's like, maybe we're a bit frustrated, but you come to this ground and it's difficult and things like, if we lose 4-1, Ange's probably, furious.
Especially as they've won twice in a row before this here at Spurs.
Yeah, but I wonder what that kind of says about them at the moment, that they weren't that disappointed with the defeat. Is it a case of just they're confident in where they're going at the moment, or is it they know how good we are? I don't know.
I think maybe a bit of both. I think they know how good we are, but also they've had a really good start to the season. So I don't think one loss, I know it's against a rival, but one loss shouldn't derail that. I mean,
4-1, you should
I get that. But
we've had losses, but we haven't lost 4-1 yet.
I get that, but we beat them 4-0 last season, and they went on to clinch 4th over us. So it's not the be-all and end-all.
True. I guess, but still, losing in that manner in any game shouldn't be acceptable, should it?
No, it's not. I don't think it's acceptable. And maybe one thing you say to the press, one thing says behind closed doors. I think it's two different things. But I don't think they're going to be accepting that result and that performance. No, by no.
But that's not what McGinn was saying. He wasn't saying, it's unacceptable. He was just like, it's tough. We have to have a wee bit of perspective and all that.
I reckon behind closed doors they're saying different things.
But you've seen mad players and things come up saying, that was an unacceptable performance and all that kind of stuff.
You have seen it. You have seen it, and I'm not sure what he's saying, but I think behind closed doors they'll be very angry at themselves.
Good.
But anyway, that is the match review. A nice long-winded one to get your teeth bitten into on this lovely Monday. Let's go to some super chats. We've been speaking so long, a lot of them are starting to vanish. But Charlie Vale says, holy shit, what a swerve. Big up, Brian Daigle.
Come on.
Sean Slater says, Brian Daigle doing my suggested entrance. Big up to you three, to all three of you.
Well, listen, Shawnee did
was it his idea?
No, Shawnee did mention this. I hadn't said it. It was actually you two that came. Oh, no, it was you. It was you that came up with it before we got on here. But yeah, Shawnee had mentioned it before me when we've been speaking on WhatsApp. So maybe he's sending positive vibes your way.
Brian Kim, another one from the Soul of Soul, saying, I'm so jealous that another Brian is your best friend.
Did he spell Brian the right way?
He spelled it the right way.
Good.
Brian Kim, the third favourite Brian.
And a couple more super chats from Brian Kim. These ones we can bring up on screen, saying, I think the coach didn't explain to Son Heung-min that he was going to lose the second half in advance, and told him to play with restraint. He was thinking to himself that Son Heung-min would be replaced in the 55th minute. What's your take on the Sonny substitute?
I literally, when we saw it, I thought, okay, resting him, we've got to be careful with him. But I hadn't thought anything about it, apart from that he did not look happy when he went off. And then when I was speaking to you before we came on, when you mentioned, like, he was in total shock that he was coming off, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He really was. Now, whether that was, we're going to do that around the 60-65 and he's gone early, or whatever it was, I think it was the right move. We know how badly we need to keep this guy fit and at full throttle, and we're coming into the Christmas period now after this international break where games are coming thick and fast, and it's vital that he is available for as many of them as possible. So if that's what we have to do, we have to ease him in, and he comes off like that, then I'm absolutely fine. And what a way to leave with that delicious ball to Super Brennan.
Another one from Brian Kim, the Soul of Soul, says that's why Son Heung-min tried to play slowly in the first half and take advantage of other players and play at full strength in the second half when opposing team was strong. I think that's why he was disappointed. I mean, I don't think he played with restraint in the first half. I just felt like the tactics was a little bit off and they were outnumbering him.
Yeah, and it was he couldn't find the space, which I think the doggy helped him out in the second half, and that's why he got that assist. And look, as I say, I think I can understand his frustration and disappointment to be taken off, especially when the game's at 1-1 and he's just laid on that assist. So he's thinking, I need to provide for the team, I need to get us in the lead, and to be taken off at that point has got to be frustrating. But I think that we have to be careful with him because we don't want him to get injured like he did again after the West Ham game. We don't need to be missing games. We need him in the team as much as possible. So, yeah, looking forward to having him available because he came for unscathed.
Scorpion fan for life, member for 42 months. Catching up with you, Brian.
Yeah, I'm at 48. 2 months till my half century.
He says, remember Sim said sell Decky last season. Player of the season so far.
When did I say sell Decky?
I believe you're looking at the wrong brother.
I said that as well.
Look, I think I said if we can't find a good spot in the team, sell Decky. I said if we're going to keep persisting with him on the right-hand side, there's no point keeping him. But I also said we need to move him into central areas. I've been saying that quite consistently throughout of last season, and we have done that. And he has been player of the season so far this year, so we couldn't be happier.
I have to say with that, I would, the only way I would say get him out is because I didn't want him on the right, and I was hoping that money, if he did go to Napoli with the Conte rumours, would be the final thing to get Eze in the door. So I was kind of like, if we have to lose Decky because I don't rate him playing out wide, to get an Eze in, then I would have done it. But me and you have been back and forth with
Decky, I just love him.
And I will always say when I'm wrong, and my God, this season he's a revelation. He's untouchable.
I know how much of a big fan you are of Eberechi Eze. Would you swap Eze for Kulu now?
Not right now.
I wouldn't swap Decky for anyone right now.
Right now.
I love him.
Not right now.
Cole Palmer?
Oh.
Cold. Nah, forget Palmer, mate. We got Decky, mate. We got Decky. Who needs Palmer? God, what? Penalties.
Pen merchant, yeah?
Exactly, proper pen merchant. Palmer.
All right, let's move on to the 5 takeaways, see what 5 things we did learn from the 4-1 drubbing of Aston Villa. And number 1 is comeback kings.
Yeah, and Spurs, after coming back from 1-0 behind yesterday, took their points tally from losing positions at home to 27 points since Ange took over, which is more than any other team in the league. So I think it's fair to say you could not count out Spurs at home, especially when we go behind, because we just keep coming back, don't we? And it's happened more than that. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways. Do we keep going? Is it a problem that we keep going behind and we have to keep clawing it back, or does it show the resilience that we have so many wins when from losing positions? But that is a stat to take note of.
I think it shows both, because they brought up this stat on Match of the Day about home comebacks. The second one was Man City with, like, I think ours was like 27 points or something.
And now there's like 17.
And there's like 17. There's like a big difference, right? And that just tells me a lot that we're just going behind way too many times at home. I think every home game this season, bar the Everton game, we've gone from behind. We've come and won from behind, apart from the Arsenal game, which we didn't win, but we still went behind. So it tells me that we're going behind way too much, but it's also telling me that we're very resilient when we do go behind.
Yeah, I mean, we've had it at times before, and Conte or whatever, we were 1-0 down, we're like, oh, that's it, done, we're not good. It's just showing there is fight in this team. They never stop, I think someone says. And it does, whether, like you said, you can look at it the way, Man City don't go behind that much because they're so good. What does matter is that we are coming back. It does show it. Man City, obviously, they're a different entity, but it's good to see when we go down. It's like, never doubt this team at home if we go 1-0 down, because we will fight. And again, I think a lot of this is going down as well, especially this season. You look at Kulusevski and Solanke's running as the 2 and what they put in, and now Sarr. It's just, we have some real runners in there that will not stop.
Yeah, and but one thing also we're very good at is when we do retake the lead, we then go for the 3rd and the 4th, and we go really kill the game off, and teams can't live with it. Because I think, like, when teams are spending a lot of the time just sitting in and trying to defend that lead, and then they have to change up because we've got back in the lead, then all of a sudden they can't handle us because we find that we're just taking advantage. And that's what you get when you play kind of the Ange way, in a sense that a lot of teams, as I said before, when they take the lead, they will try and protect it a bit more. Whereas we just keep going for the throat, and sometimes it'll cost you. Like last season, we gave up a few leads, but at the moment, what we've seen is when we retake that lead, we're just killing them, and they can't handle it.
Absolutely. Let's move on to number 2, and that is relentless Sarr.
And we had to have another 5 takeaways about Sarr. We said about Wednesday about his form just continuing, and he's getting those goal contributions. He had a brilliant game on Wednesday, and I think another fantastic showing this time round. 9 recoveries in the middle of the park, which is more than any other player in a Premier League game this season. 1 key pass in the game, but obviously it doesn't tell the story because the 2 goals he was involved in, you don't get a key pass for those assists. But brilliant movements for in that. 2 interceptions, 3 clearances, and I thought his role for the goals was so crucial. And that I thought, the first one, brilliant pass into Brennan Johnson between the lines to set up that movement. The 3rd goal, brilliant interception from a Pau Torres pass, which led to him playing Richarlison in behind to get the 3rd goal. And he was just relentless throughout the game. Like he just never stopped running, never stopped looking for opportunities to win the ball back. And Onana started the game stronger, but I thought Onana couldn't live with Pape by the end of it.
No, absolutely. And Pape Mata's star, man. This boy is an absolute star in the making. And we were talking about, every week we're talking at the moment saying how he's really growing into the season. His performances are getting better and better. Well, yesterday topped the lot, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a friend that calls him the lawnmower because he covers every blade of grass. And he lived up to it. We saw the impact he could have in last season, obviously at the start of Ange's Postecoglou's management, and no one could live with us, but now people can live with us. And now he's showing the impact that he really... I think easing him back in this season and mainly blooding him in Europa, and now getting him up to full match fitness, we can see the difference and the impact it's having him. He is just going from strength to strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be happier with Big Pape. I love it when you call me Big Papa. I forgot that song. Number 3, Solanke, the difference maker.
Yeah, and he had a different type of performance, I felt, yesterday to some of his other performances.
Yeah, like a number 9.
Yeah, like a proper number 9, like a proper striker. And look, he did make the difference when push comes to shove, because he was the one, his movement, he was always on the move. He was always looking to get in behind. And I think a lot of the times this season he has dropped a bit deeper, and I think he's done it to good effect. But I think in this game, definitely a lot further forward. His average position, you can see, was a lot further forward than it has been in other games. And I think his pressing and his movement, it was the big difference here. And obviously when he got on those positions on this occasion, didn't fluff his lines, didn't think twice, finished it with aplomb. Excellent finishing, excellent display of finishing from Dom Solanke. He had 5 shots in this game, 3 on target, 7 touches in the box, and he had 2 goals after not having a shot on target in the last 6 games. And I think that was a consequence of him playing a lot further forward. And you can see his movement, for especially the first goal. It's just world-class forward play from him, and really showed what he can offer in that position. Like playing on the last shoulder, that movement was absolutely phenomenal. And he got his reward yesterday, and that is what his performances have deserved overall.
Yeah, and that's what I've wanted to see more from him in a Spurs shirt so far, because we've seen him excel at every different aspect of being a striker in this Ange Postecoglou system. He's been dropping deep, he's been pressing really well, he's been doing really great build-up work and build-up play, and he's been so aggressive, and his on-the-ball technical levels have been astounding. But what we haven't seen from him is really stick up front and be a proper goal threat on a consistent basis, and he did that yesterday, and it was the most complete performance I've seen from Dom Solanke in a Spurs shirt so far, and I couldn't be happier. And I was so happy. I was questioning, like, why is he not getting the goal scoring position? 6th game, no shot on target. Well, he battered those critics down yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And the thing I loved about his performance yesterday as well is we look at, like you said, he's not been getting the opportunities, and a lot of it is because he's coming out to try and help the team to get the opportunities. That second goal with Davies winning the tackle, and then Johnson, Sarr and Kulusevski, I don't think we've created a chance from him through the middle, where he's actually been in the middle to actually get there. So our build-up play, he's been part of the build-up play, and then when it gets there, so like you were saying when you were showing his positions, him being so far forward, we created those opportunities. It was whether a case he could finish it, because I didn't think he was going to dink it when he got through. I thought he was going to try and take him on or smash it past him. That was an incredible dink, and I think having him more central, even for the second goal, he wasn't dragging out wide. He tracked the movement. I think getting him central is a major key to this, and finding a way to bring him into the game rather than making him go out to get the game. And he got his rewards yesterday, because, like you said, a quite magnificent performance.
Yeah. Number 4, Tottenham are the top goal scorers in the Premier League.
Yeah, with the 4 goals we scored yesterday, that takes our tally to 22 goals this season in the Premier League, which is now more than anyone else in the Premier League. And, you know, a lot of talk in the summer, have we improved the front line enough? You know, only Solanke really improves the front line and stuff like that. You know, is Brennan good enough? That kind of stuff. Well, at the moment, we are sitting as the league's top goal scorers after 10 games. And, you know, does that bat away any of the suggestions that this front line still isn't good enough?
Absolutely. You can't not be top goal scorers in the Premier League if you don't have a good forward line. And if you're looking at narratives around YouTube and around social media, Brennan Johnson's not good enough. Dom Solanke is well overpriced for the money that we paid for him. Heung-min Son Heung-min is completely washed. You know what I mean? These 3 players, Dejan Kulusevski as well. You've seen poor narratives around him. Brennan Johnson now, what's he scored? 3 goals this season? 2-3 goals this season?
I think 7. Is it 7 in all competitions?
I'm talking about Premier League.
Premier League is 4 now, isn't it?
4 goals in the Premier League. Solanke scored 4 goals in the Premier League. Sonny scored 2 goals in the Premier League. I mean,
Sonny's got more than 2, didn't he?
How many? I thought he's got 2 goals, 2 assists.
No, because he got 2
3
against
goals,
Everton.
2 assists.
And did he get 2 against West? Oh, 1 against West Ham.
So 3 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, 3 goals, 2 assists. Yeah.
So, like, to be top goal scorers in the Premier League when you're in a league of teams like Manchester City and Liverpool at this stage of the season is incredible. And Ange said that he really wanted to bolster this forward line in this summer. I still think we do have a bit more work to do in terms of bringing more quality to that front line, don't get me wrong. But for the players that we have in this moment in time, what they're doing is incredible.
Yeah, they deserve all the plaudits. And obviously I'm a huge fan of Brennan Johnson, who I thought was magnificent yesterday, his work off the ball. And like you said, like you put it that way, this front line that a lot of people will have criticism about, they're firing. The good thing is they're actually sharing the goals around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you look at Man City, you go, right, Haaland, he's got a lion's share, and you go through the teams. The forward line are sharing the goals about them. Yes.
Under the radar, Maddison has 3 goals and 3 assists now.
Yeah.
6 goal contributions. Is that more than anyone else for us?
Well, Sonny has also got 3 goals, 3 assists actually, Sonny. Solanke's got 5 goal contributions, 4 goals, 1 assist. Brennan has 4 goals. He's actually got 4 goals, 0 assists.
So Maddison.
So Maddison actually is leading the goal contribution chart.
That's mad.
There you go. They're all the goals are being shared around, aren't they? They just like I said. Yes, it's only 10 games, and you can't really go, it's nothing to write home about. But to be top goal scorer in the Premier League with a front line that's apparently not good enough, speaks wonders, doesn't it?
I've got a great stat actually, because there was a bit of a narrative that Brennan Johnson only does it against the poorer sides in the Premier League, right? Mm-hmm. He scored 4 goals this season. First goal was against Brentford, who were sitting, 10th, 11th in the table, whatever. Manchester United, yes, I know they're sitting 14th, but they're classified as a top half team in the Premier League. Brighton, he scored, who are flying high in the Premier League this season. Aston Villa.
Yep.
So actually, none of his goals this season have come against the classic poor sides in the Premier League this season.
Exactly. So fair play, Brennan. And yeah, look, our attack is proving a lot of people wrong at the moment. Obviously, still only 10 games in, but still top goal scorers, and it's showing that you could argue other teams have better players in attack and stuff, but the way Ange has them playing in their certain roles is really working to a T at the moment, especially at home anyway.
And last but not least, the 5th and final takeaway is the gap closing.
Yeah, and Spurs with that win now sit 2 points behind 4th place Chelsea, 3 points behind 3rd place Nottingham Forest. And that win has really put us back in and amongst it when it comes to that kind of race. Wasn't when we lost to Arsenal, how many points were we behind?
7, I think.
So we've gained 6 points on them, 5 points on them over the past 3 games.
Yeah, because we beat West Ham, they lost to Bournemouth. We beat,
they drew to Liverpool, and we lost to Palace, and then we won. Then we beat Villa, and they lost to Newcastle.
Yeah.
So,
and when they drew with Man City, I'm sure we got points that weekend.
Can't see it that far back at the moment, potentially, but. I think, so that gap, so Arsenal now in 5th, we're 2 points behind them. So it's a the league is actually so tight now. There's only 4 points between 10th and 3rd, which is mad. So at the moment, the league is very, very tight. But look, the gap has really, really closed. And if we do beat Ipswich now, with Brighton playing City, Arsenal playing Chelsea, and Liverpool playing Villa, regardless of who gets what in those games, we will be probably in the top 4, I would say.
And you know what? Regarding Arsenal, first of all, they're firmly in the mud right now. I'm hearing Arteta out all over the shop. Last season, after we played them, I said they play like prime Bolton. I had Arsenal fans coming at me. I had Arsenal fans being like, what are you talking about? We play unbelievable football. Well, you were laughing then. You goddamn ain't laughing now, are you? Prime Bolton, Tony Pulis, Stoke City. That's the way Arsenal play at the moment. This Arsenal team are an absolute disgrace. 100%. That's all I've got to say on that.
Yeah, I hate it. I have to say, when I see the word gap closing, I hate it, because all those years with mind the gap, I can't stand that word. All I will say is, let's just hope that this international break we end up going in a better position than we have the last 2.
Yeah, true.
Because whenever it's come to it, and obviously it's always come after a Europa League game, and I think it's been an away Europa League game, hasn't it, where the next international breaks come and we just haven't done it in the league. Ipswich are going to be no mugs. Let's just hope we can end this one on a winning international break, because then, like we said, when we come back, it's just relentless, isn't it? It's just relentless.
We're gaining some serious points on last season in terms of game to game, because United we drew,
Yeah.
Villa and the West Ham, we lost both those games. We won both those games now.
Yeah.
I know Palace, we won last season, lost this season. But that's probably one of the only games.
Trying to think.
Brentford
So
didn't
the Leicester would have been one of them because
Leicester
we
would have
beat
been.
all the.
So we've probably dropped 4 points on
We didn't
last
play
season,
Leicester
but
last
we've
season.
gained.
That's what I'm saying. You just got to
okay.
say from one of the promoted teams from last season.
So if we've dropped 4 points on those games, we've gained 7 in the others. So we've got on a good way in game to game
Yeah.
from last season.
It's looking good. It's looking good. And long may the Arsenal fall continue, and long may the Tottenham rise continue as well. And you never know, by next week, we could be above them.
Could be.
That would be lovely.
Very much could be.
But yeah, that is the 5 takeaways. That's the 5 things we did learn from the 4-1 win over Aston Villa. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And we're going to finish off on reacts. We're going to see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And first up is from the THFC report saying Pape Sarr won possession in the midfield third 9 times against Aston Villa on Sunday, the most by any player in a single Premier League match this season.
Relentless. What a player. Just shows what kind of role he does. Not only has he got the legs, but he's got good quality to win the ball back in those positions. And not only does he do that, when he does win the ball, he actually he provides quality on the ball as well. So he's just an absolute star.
He is. He is. Like, I just want to go back to that second or the first Solanke goal. The movement, and when he got the ball from Davies, just to play that ball into Johnson for his passing. He's got more attack-minded in his passes, isn't it? It's not just out wide or the sideway. He's really going for the jugular, and it's showing. It's paying dividends.
Yeah. Next up is from Jermaine. King J276 says, at WeAreTottenhamTV, the North remembers. And he's quote retweeted an Aston Villa tweet from 26th of November 2023 saying 3-point lane. Well, God show me it's 3-point lane now, isn't
Since
it?
then, it's 8 goals in 2 games, 4-0 and 4-1. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Squawker said Hudson-Odoi most final third passes than any other player this weekend. But Pape Sarr is second on 29.
That just goes to show the quality you're providing on the ball as well as the work rate off it, which is fantastic.
Last word on Spurs, telling us about the physio scout report on Richarlison, saying Richarlison likely suffered a hamstring strain against Aston Villa. It suggested that a grade 1 strain would sideline him from 2 to 4 weeks. A grade 2 strain would be 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, gutted for him. Let's look. We'll have to wait and see what Ange says on Wednesday when we hear the team news. But I'm just gutted for him, and I'm more worried about what he's going to do to him psychologically more than anything. Just to keep getting injured like that. It's just every time he comes back, they're trying things a different way, but nothing seems to work, and it's just a massive blow for him.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say with that, from what
He's
I
such a confidence
understand,
player as well.
from what I understand with the hamstring, it's either a rip, a tear, or
A strain.
A strain, and obviously the strain is the lesser of the 3. So let's hope it is just a strain. Because like I said, this guy. He's come on and had impact. We just cannot keep him fit, and hamstrings seem to be the injury of the month, don't they? It seems to be up, and obviously it's Ange's style.
Well, that's what happens when you overplay these players.
Yeah. It's and just Richarlison just cannot catch a break.
I don't think we can be accused of overplaying Richarlison.
No, but it also happens when players are just coming back from a long stretch out as well, and they play a bit of football in a short space of time, which Richarlison has done. Next one is the same tweet about Sarr. We can move past to Clara. Says best friend, that is Ben Davis, consoling Sonny on the bench yesterday.
They love each other.
They
Big
really
up
do.
them.
Betfred says no team has scored more goals than Tottenham, which is 22 in the Premier League this season.
Come
it's
on.
just who we are, mate.
Come on, just who we are.
Football Confidential. Look how similar this Barcelona and Tottenham graph is.
Look at that.
Jesus
Beautiful.
Christ.
We're better at pressing and physicality.
They're just better at defending
Yeah.
and possession and
Yeah,
goals.
only slightly.
Yeah, but it's very similar, isn't it?
Not bad.
Ridiculous.
They got Yamal, we got Mikey Moore. Yeah, it's very similar.
Match of the day says Tottenham star man Dom Solanke is the first player to score 4 goals across their first 8 Premier League games for Spurs since Rafa van der Vaart in 2010.
So he's been our best striker signing. Well, I guess Van der Vaart doesn't count as a striker, but best attacking signing since then, I guess. In terms of start, that's mad.
Yeah, it is mad.
All the strikers, all attacking players.
That's what I was saying before. I can't remember a striker that's hit the ground running like Dom Solanke
Seems
has.
like Defoe probably did. He always hit the ground running a
Mido,
bit.
Defoe, like these
And
front
also,
players.
I chucked Canute in there, didn't I?
Canute.
Freddie
He had a
started.
good start.
Obviously, Jurgen Klinsmann, but then you're going way, way, way back in time. But Canute started like a house on fire.
Forever at Tottenham, we're signing strikers that just like come with all this big reputation, and then like, you know, you go back to the Postegas and the Vincent Janssens and the Soldados and like, you know what I mean, all these players that we have such high hopes for that smashed it out in their leagues the season before, and then you know, it doesn't seem to materialise. But now we've profiled a striker that fits the system completely, and he's hit the ground running.
It's lovely.
Coys_SY says, I love this picture, my team. It's a great
Love
picture.
it. Yeah, and Brendan was talking after the game about how it's, you know, he just feels like it's so much more of a family like at the moment, and everyone's working really hard for each other, and that's just a lovely picture there, showing how happy they are for each other. And for Dom as well, who they know, as much as they know he's playing well, they also know he hasn't scored a goal in a few games, so I'm sure they're delighted for him.
Up to June says 4. Son Heung-min has now provided 4 assists for Brennan Johnson in the Premier League. Only ever providing more for Harry Kane, which is 23, and Dele Alli, which is 7 in the competition wavelength.
So is that Son Johnson going to overtake Son and Kane?
Well, we need Sonny to maybe sign a bit longer a contract than just a 1-year extension.
But that Son cross the back post, the Brennan Johnson run is becoming iconic.
Iconic.
I'm so happy for Brennan Johnson. I think yesterday, I think his game has gone up levels.
Yeah, it
I'm
has.
a big supporter of him. And you were mentioning, one thing you didn't mention when you were doing the player ratings is people remember in the 60th minute last season, he looked like he was exhausted. He looked like, right, he's got to come off. He looked like he was out of breath. He looked knackered.
Very true.
His fitness levels have gone up. His work rate levels have gone up. He's off the ball. He's even on the ball in about the 88th minute and stuff. He's taking players on. Do you know what? Every time there's a little ruck going on, he's always in the thick of it, isn't it? He's right there in the thick of it. I think this guy is not getting the credit he deserves. Yes, he's still got to work on things. Yes, he's still got to improve on things. But I think Brennan Johnson from last season has been night and day. And I've got a few bets at the Scotland Yard that he's going to get more than 15 goals this season. Or goal contributions, to beat his goal contributions that he got last season.
In all comps or just the Prem?
No, just the Prem. We're going just the Prem.
He's on 4 at the moment.
I think he's honestly. I think he's starting. I think he's, like you said as well, when he mentioned they're more family. I think he's fully settled into London and the club and everything now, and I think you're really seeing the benefits of it.
Yeah, one thing that maybe hasn't improved from last season is last season got quite a few assists, didn't he? Where a lot of those balls across the face of goal. I haven't quite seen that yet from Brennan, but he's definitely getting in more goal scoring positions than he did last season.
Yeah, another bet going on. Sim's got a charity bet with Lee Judges.
Okay.
I do. That Solanke will outscore Havertz.
And he played. He placed that bet when Solanke had got 0 goals, I think, and Havertz had 2 goals already.
It was 2-0 to Havertz.
And now it's 4-4.
So your charity is going to get some money.
Looks like it.
Good.
Ari says Sonny was mad AF, and Ben and Archie didn't know what to do. They were literally like Archie fixing up the coat somehow. Someone threw for Sonny without making eye contact.
Oh, poor Archie doesn't have to console him. But you can see how disappointed Sonny was at the time. I think it's more just. I don't think he's angry at Ange bringing him off. I think it's more that he's just feels that responsibility to make the difference, doesn't he? Because he knows how important he is to the team. So coming off with the game at 1-1, like he's just disappointed that he can't go and win the game for because he feels like that.
I think the only explanation is that he wasn't told that he was going to come off at that time. I think that's the only explanation, because if he was told that he was going to come off at 55, like surely he just takes it on the chin. Yes, he's going to be frustrated, but surely he knows it and he knows it's coming, and you just take it on the chin.
But maybe he feels like, maybe he was told and just feels like, with the way it was going, he was just getting into the game, and it's 1-1, like he was just starting to make an impact, and like, how can you take me off at this point? Like, that'll be a mistake. And also he wasn't injured, it was a precautionary thing just to make sure he keeps his fitness. So I think I can understand it all, but look, is what it is.
Clara again saying, "Oh, he's pissed AF," and he was looking very pissed on the sidelines yesterday.
I'm sure he wasn't when it finished 4-1.
Exactly.
Yeah. Out of context football, this is when Son's number got called up, and he's just like, "What, me? You're taking me off at this point?" And I think the whole of the stadium were like that, to be honest.
I think everyone was shocked, to be fair. So. And look, understandable. He just got a brilliant assist, and it wasn't just that. He was really starting to make an impact in the game. So, Look, I'm sure that's why he was surprised, but I think it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw Richarlison warming up on the sidelines, we were like just going through every player. We didn't even like consider Son.
I was like, maybe, Solanke maybe going off now. He's probably tired, but no.
Tottenham Hotspur tweeted out this: 2 kids celebrating with the Sonny celebration yesterday.
The one in the blue getting it slightly wrong, but we'll forgive him.
Look at you. Look at a little kid.
Just saying.
Oh my God, he got his...
I said we'll forgive him, didn't I?
Cho says the angle of this Sonny assist is absolutely brilliant. Look at this. Look at this angle. It's already shown, but brilliant angle.
It's just a great
Close to the beginning.
There we go.
It's just unbelievable. The swerve just only needed a yard. It's brilliant.
Clara again saying, you did well today, Sonny. And that's him going around the stadium clapping the fans after the game.
Lovely. Of course, he's got to fiddle with his hair a bit. But lovely. Lovely, Sonny. Showing his water under the bridge with the sub.
Match of the day saying, after setting up Brennan Johnson's equaliser, Son Heung-min is subbed off by Ange Postecoglou. He's clearly not happy. Was it the right call? Well, clearly
turns
was.
Turns out to be the right call.
Abby says, he's too good. What a cross.
Yeah, unbelievable ball. We saw
That's another.
just swerve.
Look at that. Look at
just
that.
The
Just the
swerve is just brilliant.
Lovely.
Brilliant. So
another one of Sonny moaning, saying, fuck shit. Ange Postecoglou on Son Heung-min. He was never going to play more than 55 minutes. Last time he came back from injury and he got 60-minute mark and got injured again. He got through unscathed. That's the most important thing. And by the way, he has been called up for South Korea duty as well.
Yeah, so there's actually, we'll maybe talk about it later, but some interesting quotes from the South Korean manager about that situation. So maybe we'll go through that.
Squawker Live saying Son Heung-min has now been directly involved in 10 goals in 9 Premier League games versus Aston Villa, 6 goals and 4 assists. He loves playing against the villains.
I remember him getting a hat-trick at Villa Park under Conte last season. He got 2 goals or 1 goal or 2 assists, I think.
Wasn't there the one with the broken arm when he goes through on goal?
Yeah, broken arm. Scored a brace with a broken arm.
Yeah.
Just before COVID.
Yeah.
He does it like he loves Villa Park.
He does love Villa
Park.
90 Min say after 3 games out with injury, Son Heung-min is back with an assist.
Come on, and what an assist it was.
That's another one of Sonny on the sidelines. Next up is Jesse. Dad, why am I called Pape Mata Solanke?
Your next child's name.
Yeah, I think so. I'll put Pape forward. See what she says. T1 LOL says, thank you for inviting us, Spurs official.
They're a K-pop band, I'm guessing.
I see, a K-pop band.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing. Oh, no, this is a
League of Legends.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe not quite, maybe not a K-pop band.
Yeah, I think League of Legends, I'm not really sure what league. I think it's some sort of like e-sport thing. But, yeah, I think I'm a bit too old for this.
I don't play League of Legends. Apparently, Sonny's a big fan of League of Legends, though, so there you go.
All right, well, big up to T1.
We'll take all the support we can get.
Yeah. Sonny Choyju says, Sonny gave Ange a hug when he was subbed off and after the match, by the way. I mean, I don't think there was ever a question of them two being in a spat or anything.
No, I just think at the time he was frustrated because, how the game was going. But obviously, I don't think he will think anything of it.
You've seen it plenty of times before. Like early on in the season, you saw Trent Alexander-Arnold get the hump off, getting taken off, and then like nothing is, it's just, this happens.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's anything more to it.
Kuti Son says, always together.
Lovely.
I love their hugs at the end of games.
At least he's walking around there, Kuti, because he had a foot injury. I don't know if there's a video of him showing it to Son. I don't know if it's in here, but let's hope it's not too bad.
Yeah. George says, might be the most Tottenham image ever. We go and lose to Crystal Palace, who haven't won all season. Then we go and beat Man City, who haven't lost all season. And then we go and beat Aston Villa, who haven't lost away from home all season.
It's just typical, classic.
It's so typical.
Next up in the Premier League is Ipswich, who haven't won all season.
Oh, God. Shouldn't get ahead of ourselves, should we?
Alex Coy saying, no way this woman in number 8 claimed to be his mum. Turns out it was, Vicario's mum. Apparently she is just and actually Vicario spoke about this, saying, they're good customers of the pub next to Spurs.
I love it. She's so fully coy. Look at that image, absolutely brilliant. I love that. I absolutely love that.
She's going around saying, "Yeah, I'm the Courier's mum," and everyone in the pub like, "Yeah, sure you are, sure you are."
No, I promise you.
Spurs Web saying Tottenham's record at home this season in the Premier League: goals scored 5 in the first half, 10 in the second half. Shots on target 14 in the first half, 21 in the second half. Expected goals 5.59 first half, 5.62 second half. Goals conceded 3-1. Shots on target faced 10 in the first half, 6 in the second half. Expected goals against 3.44 first half and 1.73 in the second half.
Yeah, so look, I think that shows that we're so relentless. It's hard to deal with. It's hard for teams to keep up with us in the second half of games, it looks like, at home. And you can see even against, we just can. It's much less, isn't it? It's weird though. XG, even though the goal difference, we've scored double, but the XG is very similar. So that suggests that we've just maybe not as clinical in the first half, more than not creating chances.
Second half Tottenham, isn't it?
Second half Tottenham.
But it's exciting football.
Yeah. Data MB saying no winger in Europe's top 5 leagues has more expected goals, which is 5.34, or touches in the opposition box, which is 60, than Brennan Johnson this season.
Yeah, and it just shows what kind of positions he's taken up. He's such more goal threat at the moment than he was last season.
Next up is another one of these beautiful images from Sam Cornish.
What a shot.
Look at that one.
Look at that. Emi Martinez just rooted to the spot. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. What a goal.
This guy is like one of the best photographers I've seen. I mean, he just gets every moment, doesn't he?
Absolutely brilliant. Big up, Sam.
Carly says, what Madders said, and he's replying to Ben Davis's Instagram post saying, Mr. Reliable.
Lovely. And he deserves that, man. He's been brilliant last couple games, and whenever he's had to fill in at all this season, to be fair, he's done really well. Even the Coventry game match, I didn't think he had a great game, but you got to remember that sliding challenge off the line, that keeps us in the cup. He's done some really good work this season. Maddie_THFC says James Maddison finally has a free kick goal for Spurs. Tears in my eyes.
Yeah, unbelievable. Someone actually said in the comments, I think the last free kick we actually scored was Lucas Moore against Marine.
Lucas Moore against Marine. Yeah, he scored there.
What about Premier League? Because I don't class Harry Kane's one against Brentford as a free kick.
Premier League, Sim was saying it was Christian Eriksen.
Oh my God, that's still
Eriksen against Norwich, yeah. I think I'm saying Sonny scored one, but it was a cross that went all the way in.
That was the Nuno, wasn't it, against
Watford? But there was Norwich where we drew 2-2 away from home. That was I think that's the last one I remember.
Jesus.
Well, plus Dave Dag says Alan Smith said Son's not been in the best form for a good season or so. Well, how many goal contributions did he get last season?
27.
And then you look at this graph.
Yeah, 27 last season.
Sixth in terms of goal contributions. Level with Foden, who got Premier League Player of the Year last season. Not in good form, though.
One behind Salah, and he's not in good form.
Not in good form, though. Ayudi says, clock them. Madders says, deactivate your socials to Brennan Johnson. He should deactivate his socials.
Well, he got a goal yesterday.
He did get a goal yesterday.
With his socials, that's all right.
He needs to go on that run again. How many games was it in a row?
6
and 6. Score for Wales, so 7 in 7, but for us 6 in 6.
Travis Levinson says, never seen us manage the last 10 minutes of a game so well. Even before the goal, just comfortably knocking it about and being sensible with it, but still with a semi-attacking mentality. Absolutely brilliant. Also, someone tells Solanke to stop damn running.
You keep running, Dom. You keep running. Don't listen to the naysayers. You run yourself into the ground.
Marcelo, big up Marcelo, says, for sure I still watch the streams, but I can when I can, but just been busy for a few years. Don't think I forgot you boys.
Come on, Marcelo. We're looking forward to you back on the show.
Marcelo. Blue Deer says, foot hurts, but still stands up to celebrate.
I think
he did.
He was injured. Brilliant stuff.
Fully coys, Cootie.
I think that's for Maddison's goal, because you think I see a doggy there. Look at doggy. Oh, look at that, a doggy. I love that. Come on.
Ross Peterson, big up Ross on the fan show yesterday, says, big up We Are Tottenham TV for having me on. That's what I thought about the win. So go back and check out his fan cam from the game yesterday. THFC's report saying on IG's story, Brennan Johnson, my son.
Actually, son. Yeah.
Oh, not son.
Johnson calling Gray his son. Lovely moment. Big up. He's like the little brother of the group.
Yeah, Blue Deer Cootie showed his injured foot to Mickey.
Here's a
Mikey or Mickey?
Mickey, I think.
Mickey, yeah.
Mickey
my two centre backs.
Yeah, you can see he takes his boot off. He's showing the injury. Let's just hope it's not too bad. He's not wearing any. He's not wearing any sort of protection. Look, we don't know, but if Romero goes off injured, it's not a good situation. So.
Yeah. Squawker saying James Maddison has now scored as many direct free kicks in the Premier League as Frank Lampard, which is 9, while only James Ward-Prowse, 15, has more direct free kicks in the competition since Madders made his debut in 2015, and it's also his 50th Premier League goal.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, and we know he's got that capabilities, don't we, from range, and we just, for one reason or another, we haven't seen it as much, those kind of goals, but he's got magic in those boots, and he showed it on yesterday. Right.
Ayudi saying the boys checking up on Rishi, and this was just one of those unfortunate moments, wasn't it? Because he gets that assist, and then straight away he pulls up.
Well, it looks like he got it passing the ball, didn't he? He literally passed the ball, and then he's holding it. It was the pass that did it. This man just cannot catch a break.
Yeah, and
honestly, no matter what, this guy's just picking up injury after injury. It's such a shame because like I said, he started getting a bit of momentum in these last couple of games and actually contributing and having an impact. It's like, right, bang, off you go. Just cannot get it. His most consistent run he had last season, he scored in pretty much every game, and then he picks up an injury and it rules him out. He just cannot catch a break.
Gutted for him.
Zara says, this is so cute. This was one of the best pictures of the day yesterday. I love it.
Yeah.
Mitch Fretton says, Tottenham have conceded the 4th least goals in the Premier League, scored the most goals in the Premier League, 2nd best goal difference in the Premier League, 3rd most wins in the Premier League, beaten Man United, Man City, Aston Villa, won 9 out of our last 11. Not bad, really, is it?
Nope. Yeah, it seems right to me.
TJ Ramini says, and while we're handing out plaudits, big up to Ben Davis, often maligned, rarely praised, and yet repeatedly so deserving. Highly consistent and made severely crucial tackles and interceptions, including the one that led to Solanke's first. # respect. Respect, man, respect.
He deserves his props, Ben Davis. I think he had a really good showing off the bench, and again, in a really crucial time.
Yeah.
This team, and this is the Spurs players coming off yesterday.
Love
That's not the tunnel, though. Like, where is that? Or is that the tunnel? Oh, it is the tunnel, yeah.
Classic Brennan with the side eye. Brennan loves the side eye into the camera. Come on, Dom.
Don with the Man of the Match award.
Love that.
Love it.
Come on.
Simon Yemeni says 10 out of 11 of Aston Villa starting 11 into the game rested. They have no squad injuries. We came into this game weakened by injuries and having given our all midweek. We still ran out, fought, and outsmarted them. I'm immensely proud of Ange and our boys.
Agreed, and that's an important aspect because, as we said, like Wednesday night was a massive effort, and a lot of the games played on Wednesday, they played yesterday, and yet we still finished the game stronger, and we were still the ones pressing them. And look, it goes down to how Ange plays.
Yeah, the other thing I will say, we did that for Crystal Palace, though, didn't we? We rested 9, and then we went to Palace, and they all played, and we put in that performance. Maybe it's the away. And maybe with the home form that we've got, it's a different animal. It works both ways, but he's got a point.
Premier League saying, stop that James Maddison. And you know what? It had a similar swerve on it to Pape's on Wednesday, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was around the wall, which was really, really good. And it's a beautiful, beautiful strike, isn't it, from James Maddison.
Jacko Cat saying Solanke is incredible. Even when he doesn't score, he's so important to the team. But when he's also this sharp in front of goal, he's on another level. Such a complete forward. Now his confidence is sky high. The best is yet to come.
Agreed. And there's a lot more goals that came from, I reckon.
100%.
Billy T saying Ange puts his balls on the table with that Son sub, and thankfully they are fucking massive.
Come on,
Billy.
Big up.
And he also says the league's top goal scorers beat City and Villa in a week, 9 wins in 11, won every cup game this season. Can we leave all the Ange out bollocks at the door now and get behind this lot? Up the fucking Spurs.
Couldn't agree more. I
Agreed.
think. Who would still be Ange out at this point? Come on. No, don't answer that.
It blows my mind. I've said I want to see a manager given time to see what we can do because we keep changing managers every so often. And look at all the stats you brought up, like the stats you've been bringing up from other people and yourself. What's the issue? He's got to stay. He's got.
Of course, he's got to stay.
That's not even a question. He's
Exactly,
got to stay.
exactly.
It's more about why isn't he getting more support.
That's the better way of putting it. Yeah, 100%. I'm fully behind him.
Spurs Express saying, since this tweet, the sides have met twice. Spurs win 2, Spurs goals 8. And then there's the Haaland meme of stay humble, eh? Stay humble, eh? And that was obviously the 3-point lane tweet from Aston Villa. Simon Yemeni again saying good man management while still making the tough decisions in service of what's best for the team and this game, and got it spot on today.
Absolutely. Yeah, he did. And again, more tough proactive decisions, and they paid off.
Yeah. Mari7, what an incredible assist. That's another video of that amazing cross from Sonny. Blue Deer saying happiness is so short.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're so delighted, and then Son goes off. Romero went off injured. That was just after we equalised.
Yeah,
that's the shot of Romero throwing that bottle down as well. So he was. Look, that implies that it's not a good situation.
Yeah.
Is that his boot he's throwing? Actually, is it? Yeah, it's his boot.
Yeah.
That's his boot in his hand. So I would imply he might have picked up a bad one, but
yeah,
you can see his foot is strapped as well. His foot is strapped.
Yeah, it's from. I think it was strapped from Wednesday. So it looks like maybe he shouldn't have played.
Well, he was 50-50, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He was a doubt for the game, and anyway, talking to HFC saying, "Hang it in the Louvre."
Come on.
And you know what?
That's a great
when
shot.
we spoke to Wolfie, the Nottingham Forest fan, he pretty much predicted how this was going to play out with Brennan, how it's going to be a slow start. People might get frustrated with him, but by the end of it, he's going to show his quality.
Yeah.
And it's kind of playing out that way, isn't it?
He's definitely showing it, isn't he? And I'm very happy with him at the moment.
Squawker says only 2 sides have won 8 Premier League match home games in a single calendar year after conceding the opening goal of the game. That is Newcastle 2002 and Tottenham 2024. Bounce back ability.
Love that.
Euro expert says Solanke has worked so hard this game off the ball and his attacking movement has improved throughout too. First half, felt he wasn't doing enough to escape his marker. Second half, he's been much better and he gets his reward.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Solanke. He always tries different things. He never stops moving. And, it's always possible that he can find moments because of how he plays.
This next one is actually mad. This one is actually mad. Son Heung-min goal contributions in the Prem, 188. Defoe and Bale combined, 184.5.
Monstrous from Son.
That is
Absolutely
madness.
monstrous.
That is insane.
You've got to think, Defoe, how long was he in the Prem for? How is he? He
For
got
how many
over 100
teams?
goals.
Yep.
That's crazy. Wow. It just goes to show what a machine Sonny is.
Yeah. Leslie saying Kuti and Sonny hugging after the game. Yeah, we've seen that one. Harry Brooks saying brilliant, quick thinking from Maddison. Usually when the ref blows, that's when players do their routine to get set for the free kick. Maddison took it immediately and Martinez can't react.
Yeah.
And you see Martinez just like move a bit to his left and that was it.
Yeah, before he knew it was just in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Leslie saying I don't blame him at all, and that was the Son reaction. Carly, look at this one.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant side-by-side. Fantastic.
Alfie showing us where the Solanke celebration came from yesterday. We're back,
That's
baby. Do you know what that is?
Anime. No, I don't know. He said what it was after the game, but I can't remember what it was called.
One Football saying Son Heung-min has now been directly involved in 10 goals in 9 EPL games against Aston Villa. Hotspur related saying Dom Solanke is the first Tottenham player. We've been through that. John McGinn from the Spurs web saying many teams will come here and suffer that defeat. It got loud, probably as loud as I've heard it is as an away player. That's incredible.
Atmosphere, and a lot of people praising the atmosphere on Wednesday as well, so hopefully we're turning it into a bit of a cauldron.
Spurs Express saying, let's talk about this man today. Ran the entire game in midfield and was tremendous in transition. Villa couldn't handle his energy in the second half. What a player. This is a Tottenham midfielder, Pape Matar appreciation.
And he deserves a lot of appreciation after another top performance.
Another Spurs picture that goes hard. Lovely Dom Solanke doing his celebration yesterday. Spurs Watch saying Tottenham have conceded first in 12 out of 14 home games in 2024.
That's insane.
That is
always
insane.
do it. We just always do it. Yeah, we always come back.
And I think that's it. We'll go through this last one. Why not? Because Rising Ballers say Dane Scarlett has been cooking for Oxford recently. Scored today against Swansea and now has 5 goals and assists in his last 5 games for club and country, all within 230 minutes, meaning he's averaging a goal contribution every 46 minutes.
Yeah, and he's got a nice goal. If you saw his goal
Yeah,
on the weekend
yeah.
as well, so he's starting to score regularly for them, which is really good because a lot of people it wasn't the season wasn't really working out for him, was it? And now he's got I think 3 goals in 3 games for them, or 3 and 4. So delighted for him. Let's hope he keeps it going.
All right. Well, that brings an end to a long reacts for you guys today. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around all this time. Still got 1,110 people in the chat with us. So I want to say big up to you, Brian. Welcome back, my friend. Welcome back.
Pleasure to be back, my brothers. It's been a pleasure.
People were saying in the comments that me and you look like brothers and Sim looks like just some random guy.
What can we say? This hairdo, it's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Shivan Plays says, you lads are phenomenal. Keep the content coming. Well, thank you so much for the support and big up to yourself. But I think that is it from us today. Long 2.5 hour stream for you guys, waxing lyrical about Tottenham Hotspur. Long may it continue, and we'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.